Philadelphia.
Everybody, after a few technical difficulties, we got them worked out. As always, right here from Pike's Pub, this is the Tony Cutillo Show, brought to you live. All bets powered by OddsShopper Tails. Pike's Pub right here at 455 2nd Street Pike, like we do every Monday. Well, 3 out of 4 Mondays. And this is going to be an easy one, man. It's going to be an easy one. Obviously, this is going to be Eagles reaction, NFL reaction. We have a lot of special guests as well, like we always do. I got my man Jimmy Mack talking about some interesting signings today or yesterday for the Philadelphia Phillies to look at when it comes to the Cubs and the Red Sox. Also, my man Japan checking in with some Monday Night Football bets and some UFC talk as well tonight. And then we got the great Cordell Woodland from 105.7 FM out there in Baltimore. And he's a host right there who covers the Orioles and the Ravens. And we're going to get his reaction to what he saw in that Philadelphia Eagles and Baltimore Ravens game. Been on this program before. Fantastic talent, fantastic host. Got a lot of insight, a lot of information, and I'm sure he's willing to share as well. He couldn't wait to get on here. And then you see it right there. Vic Fangio's legendary scheme. Listen, we're going to talk about that. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you know how to do it, man. We're live everywhere. We're live Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it now. You can get live right here in the comment section. Just click on the comment section. I will read them aloud. You're here at Pike's Pub, man. It's freaking cold outside, man. Come on in and get warmed up. You could sit here and watch the game tonight. You could talk on the mic. You could talk to me. You could talk to whoever you want. You may not like me. It doesn't matter. You could talk to somebody else. Maybe you find a friend, as always. And if you want to call in, very, very simple, man. This is modern day technology. You literally just have to click the link from your phone. That's it. No number to call, no wait lines, no hold lines, no nothing. Very, very, very simple. My man Food's checking in. My man at the 50 with Fuji and Fleet. The podcast always doing cool things. Him and sweet swinging Al over there. Happy victory Monday, Tony. Happy victory to you as well, my man Foods. Listen, man, that was, I heard people say boring. I don't know why. And I'm going to share this link up here. So if anybody wants to call in live, they can. Obviously, make sure you're getting involved in the conversation. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to YouTube page or Twitch, wherever you're following us from. Listen, I will tell you this. I'm continuing to put this out on all the channels in order to get back to the main one, okay, which is the Tony Cutillo Show. Okay, so make sure that you go follow the Tony Cutillo Show. It's Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube. Again, this will be on many different multiple networks. If you like it on Twitch, it's there as well. And as always, man, listen, if you are a sports betting fan, I continue to say this, yesterday was an epic day for us at OddsShopper Tails. You can follow. Listen, very, very simple. You see it in the description. My sports betting page, where I give out the picks, I give out the videos, I give out the information. You do what you want with it, right? But yesterday, not only did we hit 3 parlays, okay, we were 1 catch away from hitting 4, but we hit 21 top props yesterday and 3 parlays. Okay, so somebody made some money yesterday. Right? Somebody made some money yesterday. And I know a lot of people again, I call it the Jigsaw Society. My nickname is Jigsaw. So when you go to the Jigsaw account, which is the betting account, you're going to see a cartoon image of Jigsaw. That's the way. People just say I'm very fiery. I'm very passionate up in front, right? So they nickname me that word Jigsaw. So I stuck with it, man. The Jigsaw Society. Shout out to my man, Kilkenny. Okay? Kilkenny is the trademark of the Mooney Gang. Okay? Of the moonshots. My man is insane what he started a long time ago. He continues to do it. Shout out to him. I actually reached out to Kenny, full transparency, and was like, look, man, I don't want you to think I'm trying to bite off you at all, or I'm trying to emulate what you do. I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan. I think what you do is fantastic. So again, I really, really enjoy what he's been able to do, and it's opened me up to a different world. And I do want to address something before we move on. We're going to get right into Eagles Talk. Listen, if you are on Facebook, okay, I am on Facebook, but here's the thing about Facebook, and I continue to tell people this, okay? Facebook, I don't always get the comments. I don't always get everything coming through. I get them after the fact. So I don't even know if you're commenting. A lot of people hit me up there and be like, yo, man, you didn't get to my comments. Listen, I can't control it. Okay. I can't control it. But the way I can control it is if you get over to YouTube. Okay. If you're watching on Facebook, okay, all you need to do is click on my profile. Okay. The link for the YouTube page is there. You just click on it. That's it. Hit subscribe. You go watch there. If you have comments, you can get it in. If you want to get on the line, listen, very, very simple, man. It's right here. This is where you go. The link is in the description, in the comments. Just click on it. And like I said, I'll get you right on the line. You want to talk? You want to vent? Okay. You want to talk about the Eagles? You want to talk about the Phillies? You want to talk about the City? You want to talk anything NFL? Because I got a good topic for tonight, too. A couple of them, to be honest with you. But one of them is, the landscape of the NFL coaching scene is changing, in my opinion. You look around the NFL, and I want to see if anybody agrees with this with me, because I see it going this way, man. I really do. I see it going this way. And what it is I see it. Have a good night, man. Be careful. I see it to where you have veteran coaches. Everybody was always, remember when we went after Chip Kelly and everybody wanted that hot new commodity? You had Cliff Kingsbury, right, who's now the offensive coordinator for Washington, but it didn't work out as that coach. Everybody's going for that next coming up, right? People were always getting that next coming up. I think that's out now, man. Look at the NFL and look at the teams that are consistently winning, okay? And look at the coaches that they brought in. Denver, Sean Payton, right? Boom, veteran coach, right? Talk about that, right? Look at what's happening all over the NFL. Dan Quinn in our own backyard, okay? Veteran NFL coach, right? When these guys come in with the lineage and with that entire encyclopedia of knowledge that we were all throwing out because everyone wanted to be the cool social media trend, right? Everybody wanted to be a cool cat. Let's get the new guy who wears the cool clothes and the sunglasses, don't know shit, but could call a hell of a play, right? I get it, but that's not working anymore. How many of those guys have worked? When you think about it, how many of these quality control guys in the NFL that have been riding their buddies' coattails, okay? They just been riding it. Going along for the ride, drinking a Gatorade, right? Come on, I'll hook you up. Just come with me. Just come with me. I'm going to make you this coach. I'm going to make you this coach. And then when they got to be a head coach, they stick Matt Eberflus. Are you kidding me? Like, what a stiff. Like, this guy, how do you not, right? You owe it to your players, okay, to try to win no matter what. And this guy didn't even know how to win. And that's the crazy part when you think about it. You look around and Mike McCarthy. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how the hell this guy won a Super Bowl, right? I look at somebody's decision. That team is not prepared. That team is mentally undisciplined. That team is completely structured the wrong way. And guess what? He was Jerry's guy. So don't tell me you didn't have a little bit of pull, okay? A little bit of pull. It means one of two things. He's either spineless and afraid of Jerry Jones, or he's just clueless. Either way, he stinks. Right. So you think about it. Now, the one guy I think that did trump my theory is Matt LaFleur. I think he again. Now, he wasn't the new but again, he was that new kind of breed. Look at that Mike McDaniel. You can say whatever you want about the Dolphins and what they did. Are you really trusting Mike McDaniel? Are you trusting this guy? Of course you're not. You're not, man. You're just not. So you look at this, and it brings us all back to what's going on in Philadelphia, right? Look at the coordinators that they brought in. And listen, you can say what you want. And again, this is just the tagline of the Tony Cutillo show is not just Philly, okay? But again, obviously we're going to talk. Listen, no matter what, it is the national topic. And I want to call a major violation on somebody because I listen to radio all day long. Okay. I'm on the radio on the weekends. And when I get on the radio and whether I'm hosting or I'm doing guest spots, obviously I follow a lot of serious personalities because I do work for Sirius, right? So because I follow a lot of these personalities, they're always on the radio. I don't listen to local radio anymore. I just don't. It doesn't. It's like I could put it on right now. I can tell you exactly what the script's going to be tonight. I can tell you exactly what they're going to talk about. They're going to ask the same questions. They're going to give you the same vote. They're going to do the same damn thing. That's all clicked and whatever, man. I'm done with that. No disrespect. I think some of them people are amazing. Okay. But I also think that their hands are tied, right? When Spike Eskin came back, the reason why he came back, listen, that dude, you got to show him exactly what you're doing. He controls it all. There's a reason why a lot of people left before he was there. So again, and that's the thing. So you can't really blame the host sometimes. It's just the same narrative, right? It's the same narrative. And the reason why I bring that up is I was listening to the Sirius earlier today. I was listening to the Jeff Mann show. I don't know if you listen to Elite Sports, the Jeff Mann show. That's on every day. I'm giving him a plug. Honestly, not because I agree with what he was saying, but I do respect his work, right? He's on every day from 3 to 6. And he was venting about the Philadelphia Eagles game and how it was a horrible coaching job in that game. It was a terrible scheme of how they ran the ball and they didn't throw. And, I'm going to say something, man. Like, sometimes, listen, if you're, and I'm not going to put myself in this category because I'm going to be not cocky but confident that you want to talk fantasy, I'll talk to you every day. You want to talk real, I'll talk to you every day. But some guys need to stick to what they know. Listen, Jeff, you're a hell of a DFS player and a hell of a fantasy guy, but stick to that, bro, because you don't know football. Okay, because what do you do? I was losing my mind. You should see me when I'm in the car. I'm just screaming and yelling at the radio like they can hear me. But I'm listening to this guy say he thought the scheme was stupid. I listen to this guy say the coaching was ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I always thought, and maybe I'm a freaking moron here, but when you go up against a guy like Lamar Jackson, who you can say what you want, okay, he's an MVP candidate, whether he dropped out of the race after last night or not, doesn't matter. He is an elite quarterback. That is an elite offense, okay, and led by Derrick Henry. So how do you beat them? You keep them off the friggin' field. So you keep them off the field by doing what? Running a ball-controlled style of offense. You heard the MVP and Saquon Barkley at the end of the game, okay, say, shout out to Kellen for continuing to run the ball. A dude who knows football, who knows what he's talking about. So this Yahoo on the radio is telling me that the script was stupid, the coach is ridiculous. Why? Again, because he's probably getting me all fired up, my blood pressure up to be able to talk about it. I get it. But my thing is, what they did, the reason why I bring it up is what they did in that game was so special. It really was. Yeah, it was boring. Okay? It was boring. All right, 14-12. Who's excited over a 14-12 game? Right? Not only somebody who actually loves football, somebody who's not worried about a bet, somebody who's not worried about a fantasy player, somebody who actually loves football. And let's remember something. What did the Ravens in 2000? How did they win a Super Bowl? Boring as hell. Trent Dilfer sucked. But guess what? He won a ring because he rode Jamal Lewis all the way to the end. Brian Billick rode this guy. Had one receiver. You remember that guy was? Derek Mason. One receiver. Okay? And this guy just ball control offense. Right? But they won the friggin' chip, man. So I honestly, we're better than that. Like Jalen Hurts obviously is better than Trent Dilfer. And if you don't think that's the case, man, you just need to put in your NFL card, put it in the mailbox and ship it to the North Pole. Okay. Because you just don't deserve it. Okay. Because looking at this team and the way they're stacked up, they listen, they could have lost 4 to 5 balls yesterday. Okay. With the fumbles that they actually retained. But my point is, and what is going on with Justin Tucker? All right, missing these kicks, but they still won the game. And that brings me to Vic Fangio's legendary scheme. Okay, I listen. You got to say now. I will say this. I don't. I only have. I'm telling you this right now. We have over 138 people involved in this stream right now live. Okay, I got one person who's commenting. I'm going to tell you right now. It's because the comments are not coming in. Okay, the comments are not coming in. It's a StreamYard. Listen, I use a platform that connects all the networks, and it's just not coming in. So again, if you want to get involved. Okay, if you want your comment to be heard, you got to go to the YouTube page. Okay, you got to go. That's the only way it's going to get through, or you got to call in. And the link is right there. You can call in. Very, very simple. Okay, I'll get you right on the air. It'll be live for everybody here at Pike's Pub, right here, 455 2nd Street Pike. Let me know how you're feeling. Foods, I know you're all fired up. Okay, you might be working, but I know you're all fired up. It's Victory Monday. Victory, like Johnny Drama in Entourage, right? Everybody's happy. Everybody's talking, except Nick Sirianni. Everybody's talking Super Bowl, right? But listen, I think we can finally say that we're watching a complete team, right? You got to finally say that we're watching a complete team, okay? And looking at everything. You saw a couple injuries yesterday, and again, it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter. You have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean over 114 targets at them. Okay, over 114 targets at them, and nobody has had a good game. Like, think about that. It's crazy. The talent, and then to watch them be able to shut down Derrick Henry. Like, and damn near Jalen Carter, whether I like his attitude or not, do I think he's going to be a problem one day? Yes. And I mean a discipline problem. He is going to be a problem. I've said this from day one. He is Ndamukong Suh 2.0. That's who he is. You're going to love him on the field, but you're going to hate him off the field. Right? It's just the way he's going to be a complete prick at times. That's what he's going to be. Okay, you already see it. He's going to be uncontrollable at times. Okay, but he's going to dominate. And what he's been able to do by being held, he gets no calls. Okay, we talked about, in basketball, Tyrese Maxey last year not getting those calls like a LeBron gets, right? Like a Damian Lillard gets, these veteran guys. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I don't know what they're looking at with Jalen Carter, but this guy's getting held on damn near every play. I mean, he's getting dragged down. He's getting clotheslined. He's getting choked, hands to the face. You name it, right? You name it. But they're calling ineligible guy downfield on us. I'm not saying it's just against us. I see it all the way around the league. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not just Jalen Carter. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. I don't know. The refs have been brutal this year. Absolutely brutal. I think everybody knows that. It's going to be only a matter of time before everything's going to be, robotic, right? Where they're just going to be watching the game in New York and continue to call the penalties from there, because that's what they're going to have to do, right? They already have that one camera that they can't use, right? Which is really, really strange to me. I don't understand it. But looking at this roster with that interior line, there's a reason why that guys like Nakobe Dean and Zach Baldwin are that good, right? And I'm not taking anything about them, but this is a complete team effort, right? You may take Zach Baldwin off of our team and put him on another team that has no pass rush and no interior push, and he may only be an average player. But on this team, with the amount of push that they're getting up the middle, he's like, think about what that does. That allows these guys to just roam free, pick up whoever they want. It allows them to actually go on whatever route, pick any gap. It doesn't matter, because they know that Jalen Carter and even Jordan Davis, who's made a complete turnaround. I heard somebody talk about, they mentioned a name to that. I think this was brilliant. And this is why I love listening to NFL radio and not local radio, because you can actually learn a lot more when you watch many different shows, and not just the opinionated shows. I'm talking about the actual real shows, right? So they talked about Jordan Davis, and they compared him to a Pittsburgh Steelers great in Casey Hayward. And I thought it was brilliant. A guy that doesn't get the notoriety with the sacks, but a guy who blows up stuff in the middle and is a force. A guy like a Vince Wilfork, right? Who is in the middle. That's what Jordan Davis is doing. I think, again, it goes back to what this stream is called. Vic Fangio's legendary scheme, and also his spot-on technique for being able to be coach. And like I said, man, you look at the change. Everybody was worried about Jordan Davis getting to the quarterback, right? I think Jordan Davis was worried about getting to the quarterback. And I think Vic changed that. Say, look, man, I just need you to be a stud in the middle. I need you, the guy, to be a rock-solid horse, to be able to take on tackles and guards and be able to cause havoc. So my linebackers, okay, they can fill the gaps. So my coverage guys can actually play man or play zone, whatever they want to play. I'm telling you right now, it's a difference maker. And I think that's why, like I said, the legendary Vic Fangio, it's starting to show with the veteran coaches above the new schemes. Listen, this is an age-old scheme, right? This isn't new. This has been around for 25 years, okay? But guess what? Vic has the players. He has the players that he wanted, that he knew could dominate the scheme. So how many times do you see a team bring in a guy, doesn't get to pick his own guys, okay, and all of a sudden it stinks. The scheme, it doesn't work. Yeah, probably because it doesn't have the guys that he needs to work the scheme, right? He's the guy that changed around Zach Bourne. Oh, by the way, did you see Jalix Hunt? Did you see Jalix Hunt? My man twice was in the backfield, causing havoc. A guy with raw ability, okay? Raw ability that Vic Fangio, again, is coaching up. The Saquon Barkley mentioned the running backs coach on live TV. Listen, man, I'm just saying it's huge because we talked about it all season. It's coaching. Everything is coaching. Me, I coached for 20 years. Softball, soccer, basketball, flag football, you name it. Okay? Hardcore travel softball, collegiate travel softball. It's nuts, but it's coaching. Coaching. So many times you could take the same girl who don't want to listen to anything with one guy and listen to something to somebody else. It's a different voice. Okay? Maybe that guy can see something in her from a different side of the plate, a different side of the field, a different position. You know how many times I changed girls' positions and I said, listen, you're not a center fielder, you're a shortstop. You're not a first baseman, you're a catch. And they look at me like I was crazy. And then guess what? 5 games later, like, coach, man, that was amazing. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I didn't do it. You did it. But the problem is you need somebody to be able to direct them. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles have right now. And it's a good time, man. Listen, it is a good time. And that's why, like I said, if you look around the NFL, I do think that you're starting to see a change of the guard. And I do think that, I always used to say, I don't want to retread, right? I was, listen, I know you've said it out there. I know people said, I've always said, I don't want a retread, right? So again, honestly though, I don't mind the retreads if they're veteran guys. You heard me say it all along. Okay. I still, whoever goes with Bill Belichick, okay, is going to be successful. Say what you want. They're going to be successful. Bill Belichick is going to be successful. Okay. He has a solid scheme, a solid culture. Okay. Listen, I honestly like Robert Saleh. I think Robert Saleh, even though he wasn't a veteran guy, he understood. He knew. Or it's like D'Amico Ryans, right? This is a guy who played in the league. Listen, D'Amico Ryans wasn't a nice, shiny toy, right? He wasn't the guy throwing those 5 empty wide receiver sets at Michigan or Ohio State. No, this dude was in the trenches. This dude was in war. This dude made tackles. He had technique. He had knowledge, right? So, and I think that's what we're starting to see. I'm very curious to see what happens in this offseason, not with us, but like around the league, because I don't think you're going to see those guys in the college ranks get picked off. Maybe they become coordinators, but they're not going to be NFL head coaches right away. It's just not going to happen. I think these owners have learned. I think they've learned their lesson. And, it's the same way that we're looking at the entire running back landscape, right? When we're looking at the running back landscape and we understand with the running back landscape, okay, then guess what? Saquon Barkley, conditioning. Derrick Henry, conditioning. Major Major conditioning. J.K. Dobbins, conditioning, hunger, right? Drive actually means something. But also, what if you have the right scheme? You think J.K. Dobbins is the same player if he goes to Arizona? Nope. It's a Jim Harbaugh scheme. It's a pound and ground and grind and dog mentality. That's what he brings. And that's why I think it's going to flip. Okay, we're going to see that. Now, I think it's great because I think it's so important. Like, I'm one thing where I am pro union. Okay. And I look at the collective bargaining agreement and I look at the players union and say, man, it's a bad time to be obviously a running back, but in order to battle against that running back, the narrative that they're washed, that they're done, and a point where how do you as a union leader say that they're not when all the proof had made, was out to say that they were? So how do you get a deal? How do you get an extension? Right? I'll tell you how. And this is going to go to all you kids out there. Okay. And shout out, I can't wait, man. Shout out to Sarah. It's going to be my new intern, which I can't wait. Local girl. I coach with her dad. Shout out Lou, my man. And I cannot wait to get her on board. Confirming another one as well. And the reason why I say that is, and obviously, shout out Peyton. I'm sorry, my man Bill, as always, for your dad's allowing you to come on and understand how this process works. And how do you get paid? You have a good mindset. How do you get paid? You get your ass off social media. How do you get paid? You actually have the right mindset, the right culture, right? You're not a negative person. You're not a me person. You hear Saquon Barkley talk. You hear him. He's like the perfect friggin' player. Right? If you wanted to model one of your athletes after somebody, you model them after a guy like Saquon Barkley. So that's the X's and O's that people don't tell you about. That's when they say, oh, maybe he's washed at 27 or 28. Do we really want to give him that money? Is he washed? Yeah, but you know what? He's a hell of a character guy. Brandon Graham. Maybe he's washed. Do we give him a 3-year extension at 32? He's a hell of a leader. He brings culture. Right? He's not negative. Doesn't rip anybody down. You think they're going to be battling down the doors for Malik Neighbors? Really? George Pickens? Those dudes are nothing but me guys. Nothing. So if you want to be that guy, go ahead. But guess what? When you're washed, you're washed. You're going to give no other particulars. You're going to give nothing, no intangibles, nothing for another coach to look at. And that's huge. And I say it to a lot of young athletes that I talk to all the time. And I do a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of coaching. First thing I say is, man, everything is recorded. Everything you do. I don't care. Listen, man, stop saying you deleted. Stop, man, screenshots, clouds. It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Do you want to live your life hiding behind a comment, hiding behind a video? Like, it's ridiculous. You know how much life is better when you don't have to do that? Right? You could just be like, yeah, this is me. This is me. Right? And it's a big deal. And again, Saquon was Saquon. Even on Hard Knocks, Saquon was Saquon. Okay? And that's what got him that deal. Derrick Henry, how many videos do we see at Derrick Henry? Up and down. The conditioning at his age, even after all the ground, the pound, right? After everything. How many times you see Derrick Henry come out and talk about me? How many times you hear him come out? He never did. Right? The whole thing out of town. He didn't want to be out of town. They wanted him out of Tennessee. Right? That's what they wanted. They didn't want to pay him. Like, that's the crazy part. So I look at this and say, you know what? They are building a new narrative. Head coaches and running backs in NFL. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Now, we're going to get to a lot of different things. Like we got a huge Monday Night Football game, okay, which one of those coaches I'm talking about in Sean Payton, okay, Denver and Cleveland. I think that Jameis is going to throw the ball damn near 50 times. I don't care if they're up by 20 or down by 20. He's just going to sling the shit out of it all day long. That's what he does. Okay, I'm excited to watch the young boy, Bo Nix, who I've been on. I like Bo Nix, right? And on top of that, got a big parlay. It was hard. I'm going to say this. It was hard. Have a good night. Be careful. It was really, really hard for me to get a lot of value on the betting board tonight. It was tough. So usually I go with a crazy 3-leg, but I got a boost, right? And again, I keep telling everybody, if you don't know how it works, man, like, let me know. I will help you through the process. There is a ton of free money out there, but if you don't follow the right directions, you're not going to get it, right? So many times I've heard people say, I did everything they said. No, you didn't. You didn't. You couldn't have done everything they said. I'm not calling you an idiot. What I'm saying is they are trying not to give you that money. That's their point. They're trying not to give you that money. Another thing to the sports betting audience, and I want to tell everybody, you hear these people come on, promoting FanDuel and giving you a parlay. You do understand they work for the sports book, right? Do you think they want you to win? No. They're giving you whatever numbers they want. And see, that's one of the issues that I've always had, and it gets me in trouble. My mouth gets me in trouble. Okay, that's where the jigsaw mentality comes from. But everybody clamors over all the celebrities, right? Clamor, like, listen, Jason Kelce will forever be, a Hall of Fame Philadelphia, maybe possibly the second best. I still think Dolk is number one, but the second best Philadelphia Eagle, right, of all time. But that doesn't mean that I have to go and just give him everything, right? He already has it. Like, and I say that all the time. So, like, just hypothetically, say Jason Kelce is an ambassador for DraftKings, and he has a code called Kelce, right? And you have John over here who busts his ass every day, talks to the people one-on-one, gets in Zoom calls, lets them understand the sports betting element, understands, and he's got a code called John 10. Nobody's using John 10. Everybody's running to use Kelce. Why? You know he's getting paid for that, right? He doesn't need your money. Like, he doesn't need it. Like, I don't understand I don't get it. I don't get it. Everybody wants to support the people who already have the support, but nobody wants to support the people that need the support. And it's so huge in the podcasting, the media, the radio, sports betting, fantasy industry. Listen, these guys already have an audience. Why do they need you? Like the Shady McCoy and Deshaun show. There could be two worst people that have a show. They're the worst. They could care less about you. Those dudes don't care about anybody. But everybody, I got to get there. He's an Eagle. I got to support him. Why? Do you remember what he used to do? Do you remember the people he beat the shit out of on a bus in a bowling alley? The girls, the guys. He's a great guy. But you continue to support these people. I don't understand. I don't get it. They don't need your support. The people that need your support are the good people that have the great work ethic, right? And the great mentality that are actually busting their ass, okay, to get to that point. And don't forget about the people when they get to that point. And then when they get to that point, you know what they're doing? They're hyping up the other people that need to get to that point, right? That's the difference. So again, that's what you have to understand. I say that all the time. I mean, I'm talking to a dead horse sometimes, but unfortunately, that's the way this life goes. But I love it, and it's great, and I'm very passionate about it. And you meet fantastic people, and you win some bets. Like yesterday, listen, we hit 3 parlays. Okay, we hit 3 parlays. Plus 950, plus 436, I think, plus 715. We just missed a plus 1049. We needed 1.5 catches, at 2 catches, right, from Puka, but that's okay, right? We hit 21 top props. This is very, very easy, okay? Now, tomorrow I might not win anything, right? Like, you might not win nothing, but you have to ride the wave. So when somebody comes after you and says, I win all the time, they're full of shit. I win all the time. Really? No, you don't. Because if everybody won all the time, there would be no sports book. Okay. The biggest thing in sports betting is you have to understand how to manage your bankroll. Okay. Not overextend yourself. Okay. Never make a deposit. This is what I say to people all the time. How do you deposit when they're giving you up to $1,000 of free money? Either you have no idea what you're betting on, you have no idea how it works, or you're just completely irresponsible. Because you should never have, if you're following the right methods, you should never have, even if it's a couple dollars here or there, it's ridiculous. Like I say all the time, like I just bought Black Friday, okay? And I work in the sports betting industry. I just bought 2 sweatshirts on Black Friday from Fanatics. 1 book I did not belong to was Fanatics. I buy 2 sweatshirts. Okay. They were each 50% off. Buy 2 of them. Literally cost me $67. Okay. Would have been $130 plus shipping. $67. Soon as I check out, know what it says? Hey, are you a member of Fanatics Sportsbook? I write no. It says, if you would like to be a member, you can convert your sale into Fanatics points. Plus, we'll give you $200 in free bets with no deposit. So what did I do? Boom. $257 in my Fanatics account. I never put a penny in there. Never. That just happened 2 days ago, right? I should never have to deposit to the Fanatics now, ever. Because if you're betting smart and you're betting the right way, you should never have to do it. So again, make sure you get locked in. If you go over to OddsShopper Tails, you can see my sports betting page right there. Okay, code word is Jigsaw. Okay, it's very, very simple. We have a lot of fun building the Discord community, have a lot of people involved. And listen, you can ask around, ask a lot of people. I am not your normal capper. We have a lot of fun. We do some crazy bets. We keep it simple, but we also win. Right. I mean, the track record speaks for itself. I have a Google sheet that I share with everybody. I'm very transparent. And listen, I didn't hit a parlay for a week. I usually hit like 2 parlays a week. Okay, that's my goal, to hit 2 parlays a week. Everybody says you can't hit parlays. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you're smart about it. Now, you can't do nothing about injuries, but you can hit the parlays. Okay, it's just you have to be calculated in your approach. Okay, and then you have to bet the single bet. I teach you all that. It's so much fun. We have a great time doing it. And what we're going to get into on the other side, we're going to take a 5-minute break. And speaking of betting, speaking of ROI, we're going to get into this Phillies topic like we always do every week with my man Jimmy Mack. And I set him on match. We're always in the same wavelength. So earlier today, I saw Boyd signing, right? I saw the Frankie Montes signing. And the first thing I said to myself was, wait a minute. They look like guys that maybe the Phillies could have targeted, right? And looking at the price tag, I'm thinking, wow, was it too much? Is it cheap? And then the news comes out that it looks like Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas will be your center field platoon next year, and they're looking to beef up the outfield spot, whether it be trading Nick Castellanos, whether it be keeping Nick in right and getting a left field. I don't know what that is, but I want to hear, man, like, are you okay with that? Are you okay with that? And last thing for a fan question tonight, because I thought this was pretty interesting. Buffalo fans, right, that go out there and shovel the stadium, shovel and snow. $20 an hour, 4-hour minimum shift with meals paid. Are you doing it? If we had the blizzard of 96 again, and there was an Eagles playoff game, okay, that had to get in, and the Philadelphia Eagles reached out to the Fly Eagles Fly community and said, anybody that comes down to the stadium, we're going to pay you $20 an hour. You have to work at least 4 hours and shovel as much snow as you can. Are you doing it? I say, hell no, I'm not doing it. I'll be in the parking lot. I'll be hanging out with the boys, and you could go shovel that snow. I'm not doing that. Sorry. Like, at the end of that. But I'll tell you what, Buffalo showed up, man. They were all there in droves, dying, lake effect snow, snots coming down their face, like ridiculous. Not me. Ain't happening. But I'm curious, would you do it? Would you do it for $20 an hour in meals for the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm curious, man. I'm curious. As always, this is the Tony Cutillo Show. I cannot see the comments that are coming in on Facebook, like I've told you. So if you are watching on Facebook, if you're one of the 65 people on Facebook watching, go over to the YouTube page, Tony Cutillo Show. Very simple. Just type it in, Tony Cutillo Show. Boom. Hit subscribe. It's a brand new page. Okay. So we go, oh, this guy's only got like 35 subscribers. Relax. I want to start something new. I'm trying to grow organically. I don't want all the clickbait. I'm trying to start all fresh and trying to do this a different way. Okay, so if you go over there and hit subscribe, you'll be able to get your comments here. I have the link as always. You can call in. We got my man Jimmy Mack coming up next. I got my man Japan from Twitter. A great call in from my Sirius show on the weekends. He calls in, drops some great bets. He's got a ladder bet for tonight. He's got some UFC talk. And then later on, about 8:30, to end the show, a shout out talking to my man Cordell Woodland of 105.7 FM, the Fan out there in Baltimore. Be more, right? Be more. That's for you, KNN. And he's going to talk about what he saw, okay, in the Ravens game, and also a little nugget on Anthony Santander because he covers the Orioles as well. So keep it locked right here on the Tony Cutillo Show live from Pike's Pub here at 555 2nd Street Pike. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back with Jimmy Mack talking all things Philadelphia Phillies hot stove. We'll be back. Public, we are every Monday. Well, actually, 3 out of 4 Mondays right here. 455 Second Street Pike, where we talk all things local, national, sports betting, fantasy football, you name it. We just spent the last 45 to 50 minutes. We talked about Philadelphia Eagles reaction. We talked about, things in the media. We talk about sports betting strategies, as always, like we always do, and apologize to everybody. The comments are not coming through. So my man, Jose, I saw you. Thank you for checking in. I'm seeing them on my phone right now. I'm looking at them on YouTube. I will not get them on Facebook. Okay. I will not get them on Facebook, but they're coming in on YouTube. So get over. I put in Facebook chat, get over there, click on the link, get over to the YouTube page. My man, JD checking in says Jigsaw is on fire. Bleep Shady. Exactly. Screw Shady. Screw DeJean. Don't want nothing to do with them. My man, East Coast Gridiron. That's my man, Dante, celebrating a birthday yesterday. Shout out Dante. Says, nah, I'm a Jags fan. So I'm curious to see what he thought about that hit yesterday, which I do think we made a little bit too big of a story out of that. But I'll get into that later because I'm sure I'll get some heat for that. But right now, like we do every single week right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, is we bring some Phillies information, because I will say this. I started doing this show here live from Pike's Pub probably about 5 months ago. And it's been going strong ever since. And it was on Tuesday nights. And Jim, I'm going to tell you something before you start coming. The Phillies audience at Pike's Pub was insane. Like this place, half of it was full with Phillies fans, and they were following the game, following every pitch, playing darts, watching the game. Everybody was loving it. Okay. So I will say this. They wanted some Phillies action, and they wanted some Phillies talk. So who better than my man, Jimmy Mack? Okay, my man Jimmy gonna sit here talking some Philly stuff. And I said we were talking about Juan Soto, we talk about free agency. But Jim, today, and I don't know who dropped it. I don't know if it was what reporter it was. We might know, you say that. But they talked about, guess what? It looks like we're just going to continue to be a platoon in center field with Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas. I don't know if I'm excited about that, man. So what's your thoughts on that? Are you hearing the same thing?
So I did see that too, and I can't remember who dropped the knowledge on us. But I guess here's my point. I'm excited about it if it means Juan Soto's in left. If that's what that means. Yeah, if that's what that means. I actually think Brandon Marsh and Rojas is a platoon in center field for the first half of the season is fine. If they're confident that Crawford will be ready mid-season, because I don't want, I just don't want another year of a lot of outs coming out of center field. It's an important position in the lineup, and Rojas brings an elite glove and a double-A bat, and Marsh brings a good glove and a decent bat against right-handers, but still way too much swing and miss when you look at the rest of his hitter profile. He does not have enough power to be striking out as much as, really anyone in the league. His K rate was in the bottom 3% of all of Major League Baseball. You can't hit 16 home runs and say, okay, that's a good trade-off. It's not. It's terrible. So I'm fine with the two of them platooning for the first half of the season. If you just want to get Crawford another 250 at bats in Lehigh Valley under his belt, make sure he's ready. That sounds good to me. But then you need to address left field. And even if it's not Juan Soto, then it has to be another very legitimate bat who doesn't perpetuate the swing and miss that already exists in the lineup. So there's really only, I see two guys that fit that bill. One's Juan Soto, and the only other one is, I'm blanking on his name now.
That's all right. That's why we have spreadsheets.
That's right.
That's why we have spreadsheets.
That's right. That's where I'm going.
That's all right. Take your time.
I have to have it somewhere.
My man Johnson.
Profar.
Yeah, we talked from San Diego. Yes. We talked about it.
Yes. Yep. He's the only other guy that really hits is an outfielder who can be a decent bat who doesn't swing and miss, a lot. So, so if you're going to tell me that one of those two, and my strong preference would be Soto, then I think I'm more than okay with that. You know,
Again, it all revolves around Soto. Talking Phillies hot stove right here, my man Jimmy Mack. My man Dante says, I agree. He's talking about the hit on Trevor Lawrence. There's too much hate on a bang bang. Exactly. We don't know how fast that they're going, right? At the speed of light. My man Bill checking in. Bill, my man, who was here for one of my first shows. Shout out to one of my men from back in the day, still strong as ever. Says, I read something about Harper going back to right field, Casty going to left field, and Marsh, Rojas center field, and go after first baseman in free agency because that's a better talent pool than the outfield. So, number one, Jimmy, you hear that? Or do you think that? Because I didn't even think that could even happen.
Yeah, I did not hear that, and I'm going to check out the talent pool now to make sure. I know there's a local guy, Christian Walker.
Yeah, I love
Arizona,
Christian Walker, by the way.
Couple, for a couple seasons would be
but he's just a power guy again.
He is.
He's a swing and miss guy.
A bit, yes.
Right.
But and he did get a qualifying offer, which means that you'd be getting an older guy.
Yep. And
you'd be paying a price of 2 draft picks and losing $1 million in your international.
And we don't want to do that.
No, we don't. And I've not heard anybody in the front office in Philly saying that they are looking at moving Harper back to the outfield. I think they look at first base as the way to prolong Harper's career and keep his bat in the lineup and healthy and rested. At least a lot more rested than he would be if he was in the field or in the outfield.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Bill, I agree. I'm not saying you didn't hear it, but what I think about it is I think that prolonging Harper's career is more important than worrying about that first base talent pool. It's not that much of a difference, right? We can make something. We still have to remember, Jim. I keep saying this. Like, we still have to remember that these players, that everybody we sign, these guys, they're already have the talent. Like we shouldn't. Maybe I'm crazy, but when I got a team of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos and JT Realmuto, and you're telling me I still need more offense, that means one of two things. It means the league has caught up to you, or you've had some bad signings. And I think that comes back to the Trey Turner thing.
It does. I mean, Turner was, I look at this. When I want to sign big money, long-term contracts, I want two things. I want it. First of all, the player has to be a star, number one. And then number two, the age has to work.
Yes.
And I think that's maybe where they miscalculated on Turner a little bit. Turner looks like he might, he's a slight guy. So maybe he's not just aging all that well. He's not bad. He's not a bad player. He's still a plus player, but is he the highest paid position player in the lineup type guy? I don't know that we have that guy anymore because, he doesn't steal like he used to.
Nope.
And, he's a good hitter, but he's not a great hitter. So, I think he's more of what I'd call a complimentary piece now, a very good complimentary piece.
$300 million complimentary piece.
But that's where we're at.
Ouch.
I mean, and that's where I think they miscalculated a little bit. And that's why I'm so on Soto, because, he's 20, he's going to play at age 26 next year. You're going to get, if you have to sign him to a 15-year contract, the first 10 years are going to be great.
Yep.
With Turner, hey, we signed him at 30, and then his 31 and 32 years have been good, but Turner was never the hitter that Soto was anyway.
Right.
So, I don't know that you should be disappointed by what Turner's given you, but maybe our expectations were just too high given the contract we doled out. So,
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's market value, right? And this is, I think Turner was more of a Bryce was like, you need to get this guy, and I think a lot of that came into it. Now, our man JD checking in says, can Bone play left? Sign who at third? should have kept Hoskins, he says.
Oh gosh, they're not another Hoskins guy. Listen,
Yeah.
listen,
I love it.
Hoskins couldn't play left field to save his life, and he couldn't play first base to save his life. Hoskins is a DH,
Yes.
and he's a good hitter, but he's not a great hitter. In fact, he was terrible in Milwaukee this year. I mean, he hit like 215 or something, 219.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
Yeah, he's not the guy. You know, we had him for his best years, and that's great. You know, let's enjoy that. He was a great guy to have on the team, a great guy to get behind, a great human being. Yeah, you know what? It was time to go. Like if you're going to be mad at Trey Turner not delivering on his contract, then you know what? Hoskins would be leaving a really bad taste in your mouth, and let Milwaukee have that bad taste in their mouth. I prefer, you know, what we did with Harper and the other moves we can make.
Now we had some interesting developments in the pitching market, and I think two very intriguing names to me. Now we've been going back and forth about, you know, Juan Soto, not Juan Soto. We would go back and forth about Garrett Crochet. Do we want to give up what we need to get Garrett Crochet? And there's pros and cons. But what came out today I thought was interesting. Number one guy who I think is, if he could be recovered, and again, it's a 2-year injury, right? So he's already shown that he's almost there. Matthew Boyd, okay, had a really good couple years, you know, in Detroit. Lefty, right? 2.72 ERA. Very, very good, very good pitcher. He signed a 2-year deal with Chicago, right?
Correct. Yeah,
right?
The Cubs.
Right, with the Cubs. And then you got Frankie Montez, okay, who from Oakland, power pitcher. Some control problems here or there, right? That tries to overpower, but with control, can be a pretty decent pitcher. Damn near better than Taijuan Walker, in my opinion. He goes to the Red Sox, I think, right?
No, he went to the Mets.
The Mets, that's right. Yeah. The Mets on a 2-year deal.
Correct.
2-year deals. And what were they about?
So it was 2 for $29 for Boyd with $1 million in incentives he could earn. So 2 for $30 really. And then 2 for $34 for Montas. And now we do differ a little bit on these guys because when I saw that Boyd signed with the Cubs, I have a lot of empathy for Cubs fans. That is, you know, the Cubs right now remind me of the Phillies back in the Scott Rowland era when Bill Giles and team were saying, like, we're a small market team. We can't afford anybody good. You know, the Cubs are doing that. You know, and with Boyd, he's not a bad pitcher, but he's never been he had one good year.
Right.
One good year where his peripherals looked really strong. But when you look at his career, his total body of work, and you look at things like he doesn't overpower anybody.
No.
You know, his swing and miss is okay. You know,
reminds me of Tom Glavine. Like that type of pitcher. A little
bit, but
not saying he's good as Tom Glavine.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the arm angle, the rotate. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, but I was curious for two things. One, you know, I saw you're right. Both deals were 2 years, and there's always been a saying that there's no such thing as a bad 1-year contract. No. Well, I think inflation's hit, and now teams are thinking there's no such thing as a bad 2-year deal. And really, there's not in this fact that, hey, you know what? You blink and it's over. You know, even if it blows up in your face, it's only 2 years. It's not going to be a long-term drag on your, on your team. And they're rolling the dice. And Boyd was effective in 39 innings in the regular season, and he was effective in the playoffs. He had about 11 and 2/3 innings, I think, in the playoffs. Only gave up 1 run. So I think the Cubs are, you know, they are putting a flyer out there. They are hoping he can be fully healthy. I mean, this is a guy that's only pitched 200 innings since the COVID shortened year. So he has a bunch of injuries. I don't think it's a bad deal, you know, but I do think they're kind of crossing their fingers and hoping they can, you know, they get lucky, you know, going cheap. Which again, as a Cubs fan, I would be pulling what little hair I have left out of my head because you know, I mean, it's, you know, second city, third largest market, right?
Yep.
They should not be, you know, they should be in on Corbin Burns, but they're not.
No,
they won't be in on. You know, they should
You're right.
Be talking to Soto. They're not.
No,
You know?
they're not.
Yeah.
They're
So,
talking about, they're not. And my man Joe checking in says Montez was great in Milwaukee. Pitching coach helped fix some things. Now, I will say this. Montez, for me, I would so rather have him than Taiwan Walker.
So Montas is interesting in that he's got better velo. You know,
Have a good one, man. Be careful.
but I just for giggles, I decided to say, okay, so these are two guys that got a little bit more than I thought, based on the seasons they had.
Okay.
So you know what? Let's go back in the Wayback Machine and look at Taiwan Walker when what he looked like in 2022 before the Phillies signed him to the 4-year, $72 million deal.
Ouch.
So when I look at things like, barrel percentage, hard hit rate, average exit velo, they're kind of the same guy. All three of them. Yes. And this is Walker coming off of a good year.
Yeah, he was like 12-9 or 12-6 or something,
exactly,
right?
He had about a 3.5 ERA with the Mets. So, that was a pretty good season for him. And, we all know what happened since. But, so there's a little bit of there's a risk on that on the standpoint of both the Cubs and the Mets here. But the Mets have a big need because they have 3 pitching, starting pitching spots they have to fill. So I think they're looking at Montas and saying, hey, if he could be a number 5 and be better than he was last year, then, we're fine. One other interesting thing that, so Montas and Snell and Kikuchi all signed since last week. They're all Boris guys.
Yeah, all Boris.
So Boris, he learned his lesson last year.
Yes, he's like, I'm setting the market.
Exactly.
That's what he's doing.
And there was an interesting comment when Montas signed with the Mets. People were like, well, this must be a package deal. He gets Soto too. But I'd be like looking at the opposite. I think it's a disincentive. I'm not that impressed with Montas. Now, he did have one very good year in Oakland. But that was like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a while ago.
So, since then he's been more up and down. And I don't know that he's fixed. Like you could look at a guy like Sean Manaea, like one of our listeners.
I was just going to mention him.
Yep. So Sean Manaea, he changed something up.
Yes.
And he was night and day from first half to second half.
Stud.
I don't know that I trust that Montas has done something like that just by going to Milwaukee and hearing a new pitching coach voice. I didn't see that there was anything like really different between the Cincinnati version and the Milwaukee version of Montas last year. He was in a little bit of a better ballpark to pitch in Milwaukee. Cincinnati's ballpark's a bandbox. So So Milwaukee, I think it's a great family field in Milwaukee now or something like that. That is a little easier place to pitch. So that in and of itself may be the reason that he was maybe a little more effective in Milwaukee. But I don't want either of these guys on the Phillies. I look at them and think it's potentially another Walker.
I'll tell you what, man. That the Walker thing just bothers me. I think the Walker thing bothers me a lot because I was actually pro Taiwan Walker. When everybody told me, dude, you're crazy, I'm like, no, man, listen, I could sit here and watch. His velocity was up that last year. I'm like, I just need him to be a number 5. Like, that's it. I never thought him to be Adam Eaton. I mean, he was that bad. Now, our buddy Bill says Shane Bieber is an interesting name, former Cy Young winner. What do you know about Shane Bieber?
So Bieber is interesting. He's coming off Tommy John. I think he pitched like 1 or 2 games last year before he got hurt. He is somebody I'd look at, but he probably, mid-season return would be my guess. And I'm wondering does his velocity come back? Because he's a guy that early in his career, when he was a Cy Young guy, threw much harder than he did before, the last couple of years before he got hurt. So, I wouldn't, again, as a 5th or 6th starter, so to speak, a depth guy, would I be interested? Sure. Could you give him, maybe like a 2-year called pillow contract to, let him land softly and see what happens? Sure. And maybe even give him an opt-out where if he really blows people away, he can go and make some real money.
Yeah.
Would I be interested in that? Yes, I would. But it would have to be somewhat team friendly and somewhat player friendly, like giving him the ability to get out.
And we've seen that before especially with pitchers, right? Who was the other guy who just signed?
Kikuchi?
No, Trevor Bauer signed, right? Trevor, yeah, he signed like a 1-year deal or something with somebody. Or I remember seeing it about a week ago. It was after we did the show.
I saw that rumored, but then somebody said fake news.
Oh, it was fake news. They got me then. See, they got me. See, that's why I got to listen to the insider. They got me.
Well, I just wondered if it happened. If it really happened today.
Well, when I saw your face, I'm like, yo, I just got hoodwinked, didn't I? I got the wrong Shefty.
Listen, I'll check it on a break. But I don't think that was real.
Listen, maybe it wasn't. You don't know what's real, what's not real anymore, man.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. I can't see anybody signing Bauer.
No, I was surprised. I was surprised, and it's funny you say that because I had I talked back and forth with Gary Sheffield Jr. and we were talking on socials last week and actually this morning, and that's what he said. He's like, man, he's like, I can't believe anything. He's like, and I said, look, I was like, unless it's coming from Nightingale, unless it's coming from even Heyman, I'll take Heyman. Yeah. Okay. Jason Stark is a guy, right? Buster Olney, unless it's coming from one of, or Passan, Jeff Passan, right?
Yeah.
If it's coming from one of those guys, I'm in. But after that, forget about it, man, because you just can't trust any of this news anymore.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Too many hot take guys out
there. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the guy, right?
Yep.
Everybody wants to be the guy. Everybody wants to be the guy. Now, listen, Jim. You know, again, we're talking Phillies hot over here. Well, man, Jimmy Mack live right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, live from Pike's Pub, 455 2nd Street Pike. Everybody tuning in online. As always, make sure that you are subscribed. Listen, the big audience right here is online. I'm actually starting to get comments right now. And make sure you get over to the Facebook page for Pike's Pub. Just changed up their entire menu. They have more entrees now, more specials. I'm telling you right now, you will not find a better bacon cheeseburger for $9 for fries around. You got to get it right here. But Jim, the rumors, right? Like, it brings it right back to Juan Soto. All these Red Sox rumors now. All the it kind of came out of nowhere. People are saying like they're the guys that need to make the push. This is the Boston Red Sox, the lineage. Maybe it's me, but it just seems like a fit, man.
The Red Sox?
Yes, it just seems like the perfect fit.
Well, there's a need for that's for sure. But if I'm Juan Soto, here's what would scare me. It's like Boston has just spent like 5 years as a quote unquote small market team, almost. A lot of really poor finishes.
Okay.
Was that ownership really invested, or am I going to be Mike Trout up in Boston, where I'm like, I'm the guy and I don't have a team around me that's capable of winning? So that's where I'd be most concerned. I also heard rumor mill with Soto that, the Toronto says they'll make the biggest offer of any team. Now, I still think that doesn't work. I don't see him going north of the border. But I still looked into it anyway, because it's like, what? I wonder what the Canadian tax situation's like.
That's a good point too.
So it's not great for athletes, and athletes, unlike CEOs, can't hide their money. They're getting taxed at the highest tax bracket on every dollar.
That's a good point.
They can't take stock options. They can't, and get capital gains tax rates and things like that. That all of the rich CEOs and executives take advantage of here in the States. The other, it's a similar situation in New York. Because you have New York state taxes, which are a heck of a lot higher than Pennsylvania state tax. And then you have New York City tax, is just like, Philly has a wage tax too, but I think New York's is a little higher. So I think you look at the tax situation, and Pennsylvania's a lot better. And if he likes New York, he can still, he can do the James Harden thing. We won't get too upset, right?
Exactly.
Let him take the train up, or, a helicopter up, every now and then on off days. You can hang out in New York on an off day.
Yeah, why not go make it rain for a little bit? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Let him. Not saying Juan Soto that's his game, but he can. New York's close enough that you can still take advantage of everything New York has to offer while still playing here and saving more of your money.
That's a good point, man. See, that's the thing. I don't ever think about the financial ramifications when it comes to, the tax laws, and and it's just such a big deal. Which isn't that why people want to go to California or something all the time?
Well, that's where that's why I think Ohtani structured his contract the way he did, because I guarantee the day he retires from the Dodgers, he leaves California, starts getting those deferred payments, is a resident somewhere else, where they're not getting California state tax rates. He moved to Texas, or moved to, somewhere where there's no state tax. But it is a big deal. These athletes lose a lot of money in these, playing in New York or playing in California because of the high tax rate compared to a lot of other major league cities.
That's a big deal, man. That's just something to keep an eye on. Now, looking at this all as a whole, Jim, I'm not going to ask your prediction. We're talking about that, but any other names that have kind of creeped up, because you never know. Sometimes these names come out of nowhere. Any other names that have creeped up, you say, I didn't even think this about him.
So here's a guy who's interesting in the same vein as like Montas or Boyd.
Okay.
Walker Buehler.
Yeah,
so now Walker Buehler is, had again a terrible season, partial season, coming back from his second Tommy John. His velocity's down a little bit.
Yep.
His swing and miss and whiff rates are down a ton. His walk rate's up a little bit. But is that rust? Is it something that could come back? From with a little bit of a little bit more time and experience and distance from the injury. I would say yes, and I think again, here's another guy in the playoffs who really, really delivered.
Yes, he did.
So, that's a guy that, obviously there's probably 10 teams that would be interested in Walker Buehler, and again, offering like a pillow type contract where, it's kind of team friendly year one, and then gives him an out to go somewhere else if he really performs, but then gives him security for a second year if he doesn't perform. Let's give him the option to opt out.
That's intriguing.
That's a guy.
That's a name's intriguing to me.
Yeah, his regular season was really bad. It was not good. And second Tommy John, that's risky. There's not a huge track record of guys coming back from a second Tommy John. But I think if anybody can do it and still be an effective pitcher, I think Walker Buehler is a guy worth taking a chance on. I would take a chance on him, man. 10 times before I took one on Boyd or one on Montas.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Now, what about money, though? Do you think it would be the same kind of structure?
So I think it would be a decent amount of money, yes.
Okay.
I look at a guy like Tyler Maher last year with Texas.
Yep.
I think he signed a 2-year, like $25 million deal, where in year one, he almost didn't pitch at all.
Wow.
He barely came back and pitched. It's really, they're giving him $20 million for year two.
Okay.
That's a guy who's, who I'd take a chance on a Walker Buehler, because he's been, his track record prior to being injured was a heck of a lot better than, almost anybody on the market.
That's a good point. And it is a guy from a big market team.
Yep.
Right. The big stage doesn't scare him. Right. So that's the kind of guy that you want. Now, I want to ask you about these two guys that they're both on the same team. Not about for Philly, but just Major League Baseball talk in general. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. Now, a lot of talk. Are these, in your opinion, have we seen the best of both of these guys?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, by
far, right?
If I was going to take a chance on either of them, it would be Arenado.
Okay.
Because only from the standpoint of his glove is still elite, but I don't want him. For the money he's still owed, even if the Cardinals paid a bunch,
yep.
And I know the Rockies are still paying part of that contract through the end.
It's crazy.
Yep. But his bat has just fallen so.
Oh, he looked
far.
He looked bad last year.
Yeah, 16 home runs, 70 RBIs for a guy who's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
he's
people don't realize that, by the way.
They
don't realize he's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because he played in Colorado.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yep.
But he's absolutely a Hall of Famer.
Yep, 100%.
Did it with the bat, did it with the glove.
Yep.
He was on a trajectory at some point in his career where people started thinking, could he surpass Schmidt? And it's like the answer is no, but But there was time, probably 7-8 years into his career that people started thinking that.
It's crazy, man. That's crazy. Bill checking in says the Braves and Yankees interested in Bueller too.
Sure. I'm
right.
sure the
I'm
Mets
sure
are interested. I'm sure that the Dodgers are even potentially interested in bringing him back.
That's
the
true.
Dodgers are going to have like 8 pitchers that are all pitched 95 innings next year.
That's so crazy, man. It is absolutely nuts. It is. Like we talked about, like December 9th, right? Winter meetings.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be exciting. And here's the best part. Like, so, live right here from Pike's Pub, it's 3 out of 4 Mondays. So next Monday is my Monday off, right? Which means, whether it's live here or remote, Jimmy's going to have some information on these winter meetings because they're going to be like a weekend session before our next show, man.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
It'll be great to have that all behind us. Rumor has it that the Juan Soto signing will happen.
Yep.
Either before or during the meetings. So, the rest of the market will start falling into place at that point, because guys like Teoscar Hernandez or, other outfielders, they can't sign until Soto signs, because basically anybody who doesn't get Soto, who's really looking for an outfielder, is going to, will then be interested in, Teoscar and others. So
what a playoffs he had, man. What a season he had. Like, honestly, from the All-Star game to the home run derby to I'll say this before we take a break, but Adam checking in. What's up, Tony? Jimmy says days off. What's that? Listen, Adam, I get it, bro. Listen, man. I work every day of the week if Matt wants me to. You know what I'm saying? But nah. In all honesty, I bring up Teoscar because I used to do this thing, these home run props, and they were fun. And Teoscar was always on my. And here's the thing, full transparency. I never watched him play. And then I was like, wait a minute. If I'm going to be betting on these guys, I watch everything, every other sport. I need to watch this guy play, right? So with T-Mobile, I have T-Mobile. You get the MLB package for free every year, right? So I watched the Toronto games, and I was watching this guy, and I was like, dude, this dude's got some unhinged power. Like, and he looked like he was always into the game, like a student of the game, was following. I love that guy. Like, I would love to have him in Philadelphia.
So again, a little bit too much swing and miss, unless we change the complexion of the lineup.
Yep.
But as far as like having a good power bat and a good guy in the clubhouse, supposedly the guy's phenomenal teammate.
Yes.
Loved by everybody.
Yep.
So I like a lot of things about him. I just don't think he fits the current roster if there's no other changes. If you just say we're going to plug him into left field, then I'm like, well, unless a pitcher just can't stay sharp through the gauntlet of what the lineup would be, I just think he's another guy that could swing and miss a lot. But, would I prefer him over Brandon Marsh and somebody else platooning in left field? Absolutely. We could do a lot worse than Teoscar. And he's, the predictions for him are somewhere in the 3 years for 22 to 25 million.
That's nothing.
It is nothing.
How old is he, by the way?
He's in his early 30s, 32, 33, somewhere in there.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of coming to a team like Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, yes.
Right? And just mashing the ball, like in Seattle. Yep. Just or Texas. Just let me mash the ball, right? Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. If you told me, like, you're really intriguing me about Walker Buehler, right? If you told me we're not going to trade the prospects for Garrett Crochet, and you know what? The consolation prize of Juan Soto is we're going to sign Walker Buehler, we're going to sign Teoscar Hernandez, and we're going to rely on our young talent to come up mid-season. I think I'm happy, man. Am I crazy?
So no, I don't think you're crazy, because I think the young talent is good enough.
That's what I think.
It's really going to inject a lot of energy. Kind of like Paul Skeens did with Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Made him a contender.
Or from the Mets.
Yes.
Exactly.
Vientos. Yes.
Right?
Vientos. Yeah. Absolutely. So I could see that. Crawford is. I can't wait to see him in Philly. A guy who has good bat to ball skills, great speed, great defender. It's really just what the lineup needs. But is he going to be, is he really going to be able to perform from day one? You can't really expect that of a rookie. You hope that's what happens, but you can't expect it.
No, you definitely can't. You definitely can't. Well, Jim, as always, man, another stellar hot stove talk. And I will say this, not to get like all sentimental and stuff like that, but we always talk about, listen, Thanksgiving was last week, tremendous holiday. We should be giving thanks every day, in my opinion. As I say, every day above ground's a good day, right? So if I woke up, I'm having a good day. I could deal with whatever. But sometimes, like I said, you meet people, right? I mean, listen, you heard my spiel earlier. No disrespect to Jason Kelsey and these guys, but they don't need your support. Like they don't need, like, there's people out there that are very highly intellectual individuals that are so passionate about their sport and their teams that they dive into this, man. And Jimmy's one of those guys, and I'm lucky enough. I mean, God, Jim, what it was like, been like 5-6 years, like
probably
right
on Facebook
or
something.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right, from the PI days to the, it's just nuts. And then here we are, and now he's the guy for our Phillies news, which is great, man. So Jim, I just want to thank you as always, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. This is so much fun.
And make sure you subscribe to YouTube page, because every week these segments, I didn't get the podcast page up though. That's coming. All one thing at a time, right? But I do put these individual segments on the YouTube page. So listen. You want to go back and listen to all these names that Jim talked about, and you just go to a YouTube page. It has its own separate playlist, and boom, you hit it. You can listen to the 10-15-minute interview, man. It's a fantastic thing. We're going to take a couple-minute break, and we're going to come back in about 2 minutes live with my man Japan. It's not from Japan. His name is Japan. And we are going to be talking Monday Night Football and UFC. Some Monday Night Football bets. We're breaking down this Cleveland and Denver game. So stay tuned right here for more on the Tony Cutillo Show. Back in 2 minutes with some Monday Night Football magic. We are back live right here from Pike's Pub on the Tony Cutillo Show, man. We have a fantastic first hour and a half. Man. We talked about everything from NFL, Philadelphia Eagles, you name it. Talk about national football. We had some great discussions with my man Jimmy Mack talking hot stove for the Philadelphia Phillies, which is awesome, right? With some interesting names. So make sure you go back and watch that later on. If you did not catch it, it'll be its own separate interview on there as well. Going to have my man Japan checking in shortly. He said he's about 3 minutes away, so we're going to get some Monday Night Football bets. And I'll talk to you before we get involved about my bets, that we're going to talk about right here. And we're going to get into that betting segment right here on the Pike's Pub triple play like we do every single week. So as always, our bets powered by OddsShopper Tails. As always, get over to OddsShopper. You can use the code word Jigsaw. You can get 40% off if you download the Sportsbook EV tool, which is the OddsShopper EV tool, or if you just want to get my bets and talk to me, because again, we had a fantastic weekend. We hit 3 out of 4 parlays. Okay, almost hit the 4th, and also 21 top props. So real fast, as I continue, just so everybody knows what that means is we have a system so where when I give you the number and the bet, you're getting the top number with the top book instantaneously. That's what you're getting. You don't no looking, no searching for numbers, no shopping. I'm giving you the top number. And before I bring my man Japan on, I'm going to let you know what my bet is for tonight. Now, if you are a subscriber, you got the NBA underdog pick'em, which is the 3 play, which you can also treat that as a parlay as well, and you can bet the single bets. Okay, and again, you can check that out live on the page in the description. Very simple. Click on the Jigsaw betting page; it'll take you right there. Okay, and then my Monday Night Football. Listen, I'm going to tell you exactly what I wrote to the Jigsaw Society. Monday Night Football SGP. Hard to find value here, but I think Jameis will sling it 45 plus times. Vele will find the soft zone, and JW will get a few big runs to hit 40 or more. Okay, and that is based on Devon Vele, which has turned into a wide receiver number 2. I talked about him 2 weeks ago on my VSiN hit on Tuesday night. Told you go pick his ass up. Okay, he's continuing in. Okay, he's over 36.5 receiving yards. Then I'm going to go Jameis Winston. I'm going to go over 36.5 passing attempts. He's getting 40 plus, in my opinion, in this game. And then I'm going to go Javonte Williams. I'm actually surprised. Now, I'm not saying he's been setting the world on fire, but they have been running the football, and his over-under is only 34.5. So I go the over 34.5 for Javonte Williams, and that is going to be with a boost on BetMGM. I'm getting plus 712. Okay, up from plus 475. A 50% boost. I'm getting Japan. I'm coming for you in 1 second, brother. Okay, plus 712. Okay, and again, this is the way I will say this all the time. You got to bet the single bets. Okay, you have to. It's a must. If you're doing that, you're being irresponsible. If you're not doing that, that's the way you break even. Because I will say this and continue. Go back yesterday and watch every single one of my parlays. There was only one out of the parlay, out of all, I think I dropped like 9 parlays. Only one of them where 50% didn't hit. The rest were 50% or more, which means if you put those single bets in, you've already come out ahead. Okay, you're already good. One gets you back to normal. The second one gets you ahead, whether it be a unit, 2 units, 3, whatever it is, depending on the units that you bet. Okay, so, and I put that in my sheet as well, so make sure you get locked in right there. But we got a good football game, man. We got a good football game coming on. Bring my man Japan in here in a minute. Once I see his nice and handsome mug show up on the screen, we're going to try to get him in on the action. Again, because I know he said he's got a ladder bet for tonight. And I know he's got a parlay. There he goes. He's on another screen right here. Let me disconnect him from one stage. I'll put him on the other one. Okay, and let's go. And we're gonna bring him in, man. My man Japan. Japan, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Not much. Thank you for again having me on the show. And if you guys can hit that like and subscribe button for us, and we'll keep bringing these plays to you guys. Not much. I mean, I got a side and then two props. Tonight I'm on the Broncos, and I've just been on this Bronco train ever since I seen him. Bo Nix come to New Orleans a couple weeks ago at the beginning of the year, and when Sean Payton got his redeem against the Saints. And ever since I watched him in person, man, I do like the front five that the Broncos do have, giving Bo Nix enough time to go through all of his progressions, 1, 2, 3, and if it's not there, he takes off. I love everything about him. And then I'll also follow that up with Bo Nix over 21.5 completions. The only thing that scares me about this prop would be the Browns pressure that they can get on the quarterback. They are ranked number one with the pressure that they do get on the quarterback. But with the clean pocket the Broncos have given Bo Nix all season, I think that will continue tonight, and he will have enough time in the pocket to get over 21.5 completions, and I got that at -115. And then I know it's about ladders, so I do bring a ladder.
We lost him for a second. He said ladder. He's gonna come back. Okay, sometimes the technical difficulties get you, but he said ladder. So I'm curious. See, just so everybody knows, man, the ladders are huge. Okay, they really are. The ladders are absolutely huge. And if you hit the right ladder in betting, and what that means is you're taking, say, if the guy is over 34.5, like I am doing with Javonte Williams. Maybe, and then I'm going to bet him again at over 45.5, 50 or more, 60 or more, 70 or more. And you keep going. Now, maybe you drop the units down a little bit, but if he gets that, you are good. Now we got my man Japan back. A little technical difficulties. Welcome back, brother.
Sorry about that. And then
That's
I got Deuce falling on his receiving on 40 plus at 170, 60 plus at 330, 80 plus at 800, and 90 plus at 1200.
Oh, dude, I love, dude, I love Vele. Like, honestly, like he is, like I was just telling everybody, man, like he's been my guy. Like I said, it was probably about maybe like 4 weeks ago, and I'm not going to say this as being cocky, but a lot of guys in fantasy that were been on my waiver list, I'm always a week ahead of the game. And Vele was one of those guys. I was like, listen, I've watched this play out in the Sean Payton system before, and I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, he is, and the more Sutton continues to get even better, the better Vele gets, because he gets all this open space, man. And he's a big dude. Like, he's not small. So, and so I really like him. I like that ladder. I think we're going to hit some with that ladder tonight.
Oh, yeah. And then you got Cortland Sutton that's moving into pretty much the Michael Thomas, the number one receiver role. And then Deuce in that little slot. Man, it's working perfectly. Sean Payton has handpicked his quarterback and his offense. And he knows Bo can run that offense just like Drew Brees did. And we're seeing it. And at the highest level, he's doing it. And I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, I love it. I do.
A little look ahead for this weekend. I do have UFC 310. There will be Kai making his debut from kickboxing. He is from Japan, and it will be a homer play for me. But dude is he is a striker, and I'm ready to see what he can do in the UFC. Then these are just early looks.
Yeah, man. Listen, early looks are fine, man. Like I said, early looks, especially in UFC. Like, and that's the thing. You can get these early looks, and you just never know. Now, Adam says, I have Cortland Sutton going off tonight, so I can win my fantasy league. That's all right, man. That's all right, Adam. That's all right. I hope Cortland Sutton goes off as well. Japan, we're back.
Oh, sorry. It's happened when I'm running work through my phone. People calling me to buy cars. I'm sorry.
Hey, man, that's good. Business first, brother. Business first.
And so UFC looks 310. 310 this weekend. Bryce Mitchell is just a country guy that I always get behind, and I like his odds this weekend. Nate, I'll butcher his name. Nate, I can't say his last name, but the train, he is coming this weekend. He will do some damage. I can't really see it in the front of me who has the card, so I'm scared to get out of the screen to look. So
I love it. That's all right, man. Yo, that's all good. I want to listen, man. And again, shout out to my man Japan. We're talking to Japan. Make sure you go give him a follow at JPAN_5. I honestly, I'll tell you, I just talked to you guys about my man Jimmy Mack and a great relationship we formed online, digital relationship, talking sports. Japan for 2 years called in, whenever I was on the Win Daily show on Sirius XM. I think that some people ignore him. I'm not going to say any names, but I always brought him on because I think he brings some fantastic insight. I know my man Sia would always bring him on. He has something, and I still getting shout outs, bro, from the coach. I'm driving a line, you sent me that. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Settle down. He'll be in here in the chat sooner or later. I'm waiting for him to arrive. I'm his nemesis. He claims he has his show and he's doing really good at it, but there's this thing called the club, and I hate to put it out there on this, but Coach is 0-45 trying to get in the club all year. He's still standing in line trying to get in the club, which the club is the first touchdown at plus 1,000 or more, and you got to call it. And Coach just hasn't hit all year, so I've been giving him hell, and I'm going to keep giving him hell about it. So I like it.
1,000.
Yeah, to get in the club, first touchdown, it has to be plus 1,000 or more. You can't take chalk. So that's what Coach does. Little show that he does, and he hasn't got in yet, and he hasn't hurt, and I've not let him forget about it. And my model says he's not getting in anytime soon. I'll make it in this season.
Listen,
so
man.
I would love to have Coach and AB in our chat to
dude. Listen, just so everybody understands who we're talking about, it's at the Coach Rules, man. Jonathan Coachman. If you are a wrestling guy, as I am, he was a huge Jonathan Coachman guy. Jonathan Coachman runs a show called Driving the Line. And listen, AB, you're talking about Alan Ball, who's been fantastic. Me and him have followed each other for years. He is a fantastic mind in the world of sports betting, fantasy. And that's what I always say, Japan. Like I said this earlier, like everybody's always focused on these guys that get like all this crazy support and, they're already a celebrity star status. And they're missing the people that actually are the guys that are putting the legwork. And the girls too. Now, I'm not leaving out the girls. And the girls are putting the legwork every single day because maybe they just don't have the name recognition. And I will, and I know you know this because you can elaborate on it, but I will say this about Coach. Coach ain't that guy, man. Coach doesn't mind like giving people shots out. Coach don't mind throwing you out there. Like he's actually one of the good guys. He really is.
100%. And if you're on his team, he's going to give you the spot to shine, and he's going to critique you the best way he needs to get you to where you need to be. And he knows what it takes to be in that industry. He's always done it. So, I mean, getting pointers from him that's been in it, that's done it. You got to take that in when he's giving it to you. Coach is the man. I love his bets. He's a good capper. And then I love having fun with him on the side. So it's a good love-hate relationship. Calls me his nemesis, but I guess you got to be on the same level.
I was cracking up, dude. When you sent me that link, I was cracking up. When he was like, I was like, oh my God, dude, this is hilarious. Like, I love it. But good for him, man. Like, and again, we're all doing the same thing, but again, it's all in how we project ourselves, right? Like you guys have this club of, I love it. Like, it's a great concept. Like, I have, I can't wait for baseball because I have this FFVP play that I came up with. Now, I used to do a pod called the Fantasy Firebox. I'm going to change the FFVP a little bit, but it's a value play in baseball, and it had to be a guy that was under $3,000 or more for DFS that actually could give you positive point production anywhere between 5 to 7 points or more. And if you're paying $2,000, the guy gets you 5 or 7. That's huge in DFS because you've already stacked your lineup with the studs. So, listen, that's the stuff that I like, man. That's the stuff I like. How was your Thanksgiving, brother?
Thanksgiving was amazing. I was able to hang out with the fam, watch some football, some all right games, but they were pretty good. I mean, can't complain. And then Thanksgiving was fun. Right back to work on Friday to get it, and we're back at it again. We're ready for Christmas, getting him out of here, and that's all. We're ready for Christmas,
man. We're getting it in. We're always getting it in, brother. We're always getting it in. My man.
Appreciate
listen, no, listen.
and the
Forget
thing
it. That's all. Yeah.
from me and you, we met. Like I told
Yeah.
C, me and you met through a mutual friend of C, and I gave him the shout out, and I said thank you for me and you, because without you, I wouldn't have met Tony that opened this door for me, and I did appreciate Sia for that, and he'll come on here sooner or later when he gets time.
Man.
So we'll try
He's
to.
Guy, man. Seeing the job. We're talking about. You can follow him at Seeing the Job. Great dude, man. One of the best dudes I've ever met. Never has a bad thing to say about anybody. He's just one of those guys. And probably best hair in the game too, Japan. I have to say that.
Ooh, hold on now. I have long hair. My hair is pinned. Long hair. I don't care. And I'm the games on there with hair now. I want to be number one with hair.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, real fans, freaking out of here. Our man Adam checking in wants to know. He says, who do you think the underdog UFC fighter that you see coming up is, Japan? Like anybody coming up?
Underdog coming up, like hasn't been named.
Maybe doesn't have a card yet, or anybody coming up through the chain.
A couple weeks ago, that guy Carlos Pratt that knocked out in the first round. I mean, I love his style, man. He parties, he fights, he likes girls. I mean, everything that I like. I mean, that's one of the guys you got to keep your eye out on, Prates. And then, I mean, since I went to 309 UFC in New York, I watched John Jones, and the only thing that I'm waiting for is John Jones to fight Tom Aspinall or Alex Pereira. One of these blockbuster fights are going to happen this year, and I'm ready to rock it out and watch one of those.
I love it, man. But listen, Japan. I know you were traveling, you're working. Go ahead, brother. Talk to me.
Dakota Da Vinci that just fought in the PFL Women's this past Saturday. She is the baddest woman in UFC right now. Not playing. She is coming. She's in PFL, and if she goes to the UFC, she'll take a pay cut. So I don't expect her to do that, but later down the road, will be in the UFC. She just won $1 million off the championship in PFL. And she's
talking like the next Ronda Rousey. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, she's better. Ronda was up and down. This girl's just going to keep going. The only why is with her background, Dakota's background. Her mom was a mixed martial artist, and she said, I'm in here to make my own name, not my mom's name. I'm here to make my own name. And after Saturday was the second fight that I seen her knock out a girl. The first one, you have to go look it up. She hit the girl fell. She said, hold on, get back up. I'm not finished with you. She got back up, and then she finished her. I said, oh, man.
She's tough, man.
Only wants to knock you out. No, you're not done. Get back up. And then pop, pop, pop. And she knocked her out.
I like that, man. See that? I wouldn't know. I don't even know who this person is, man. This is why we got you on, man.
I'll send you I put it out, her knockout this past on Twitter. It was plus 120. It hit in the second round. But I'll send you her link. She's just bad to the bone.
I like that, man. I like it, man. It's got. I'm excited, brother. I'm excited. But listen, like I said, yeah, this journey, man, it's awesome, man. Like this is the good side of social media, and I say this all the time, man. When you can create these relationships and you can meet people, we have mutual respect for each other, and you can actually do something together, man. I love it, man, because everybody's always worried about the same people all the time. Really are.
100%, because my girlfriend, I'm like, my friends are talking to me. Hold on one second. They're not your friends. You only talk to them online. No, these are my real friends. I haven't met them in person yet, but I will meet them and we'll become best friends. They're not your real friends. I said, yes, they are. They're my real.
Listen, man, I'll tell you, I've been married for 20 plus years, bro. That ain't gonna change. Trust me. That ain't gonna change. I hear that all the time. I know because they don't understand this side. That's all. And I don't expect them to, right? I don't expect them to. Now, if you're talking to somebody who's actually in the game, they would understand, but they just don't. And it's fine. But I agree with you, man. Like I had a couple people reach out to me today that I haven't talked to in about 3 weeks that had no idea that I left Win Daily. And they were like, dude, what the hell? Like they had no idea. And just again, mutual people that were like, man, where are you at? Because we got to come with you. Like, right. And I'm not saying that for that, but just because, I created a good relationship with them, man. It's been awesome. It really has.
I'm only ready to see what the future brings for us. And we gonna
Never
be ready.
know, man. You never know. All I can say is one brick at a time, one step at a time. It's the way you do things. I never look ahead. I know it sounds cliche, but I don't. But listen, Japan, as always, brother, I greatly appreciate you hopping on, giving us that ladder. We watched that ladder tonight. We're watching that ladder, and off next week. No show next week, but we'll be picking up the following week. But before that, I'm sure we'll be hooking up and talking bets as well. So, man, have a fantastic evening, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And before you guys get out of here, if you guys can hit the like, subscribe, and if you guys put a comment in there for us too. Thank you.
You got it, brother. As always, that's my man, Japan. Make sure you go follow, man, at JPAN_5. I'm honest, man, when I tell you, like, you just heard that. I can't wait to cut that last 5 minutes up because I had no idea of any of that. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to go home tonight, okay, and I'm going to look that up. I really am, man. I really am. Again, shout out to my man, Japan, for some great conversation. As always, this is the Tony Cutillo Show, live from Pike's Pub right here in beautiful Bucks County, like we do every Monday, 3 out of 4, that is. Make sure you get over to Pike's Pub Facebook and Instagram page, mainly the Facebook page, where you'll see all the talent, that is hosted within the week. Changed up, like I said, brand new menu. Shout out to Matt for doing that. And as always, man, some really good food if you want to come down and stay warm. And listen, man, there's a microphone right here too, so you can always pop on as well. But we got a big Monday Night Football game coming in tonight, in my opinion, because I want to see what's going to transpire with this Cleveland defense, who has not been great the last 4 weeks, by the way. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, man. Like this Cleveland defense in the beginning was stellar. Now, like, you cannot be – they gave up the most points before last week in the last 3 weeks of any defense in the NFL. Okay, that's how bad they were. Adam says, I'm going to watch them underdog UFC fighters, and he said, yeah, go check them out, man. Japan knows his stuff. This is a dude who's betting on everything, and you can't be a sports bettor if you don't know the game. Okay, very, very simple. You can't be a sports bettor if you don't know the game. As always, if you are following along on Facebook, if you are following along on Twitter, if you're following along on Twitch, get over to that YouTube page, Tony Cutillo Show. Just type in Tony Cutillo Show, go subscribe, and go hop on. Let me know what you're thinking, man. We had a big win for the Philadelphia Eagles, but we got a big game tonight. Also, got my man Cordell Woodland coming on in about a half hour, live from Bmore. 105.7 FM, The Fan, does a lot of great work over there. Shaking It Up Sports Show, he does as well on the same station. Listen, I hooked up with Cordell probably about 3 years ago when we were having discussions. Lamar, before he was signing his extension, when it was talked about like maybe he needed to keep better company, maybe they weren't sold on him. And Cordell nailed it, man. He nailed it. He said, nope, no way, man. It's getting done. He got it. And listen, man, he's a sharp dude. He really is. And he wants to talk about what he saw in that game with the Eagles and the Ravens to get a different perspective. Listen, you've heard everybody in the city of Philadelphia talking about it, but how many people in the city of Baltimore have you heard talking about it? So we're going to talk to Cordell in about a half hour coming up. And also give us a little nugget on Anthony Santander from the Orioles, another guy who, we've brought up on this show. Jimmy Mack has brought up on this show. And a guy that the Phillies have shown somewhat interest in, maybe depending on who you talk to. So we're going to get a little nugget from him as well. Now, speaking of this game, I'm watching the Bronco ride the horse out. I heard some very interesting things when we talk about the NFL coaching carousel. Okay, the NFL coaching carousel. Somebody was talking about Kyle Shanahan today, and if you didn't notice, obviously, unfortunately, you see Christian McCaffrey is out for the year with a PCL strain, tear, whatever it is. Either way, he should not have been playing at all this year. Like, honestly, I don't understand why they even had him out there. Obviously, I talked about this before. when you're talking about Achilles injuries, the one obviously in his calves that he actually went and got went to Germany, talked to doctors from Germany to get second opinions on a chronic. This is a chronic condition on a team that wasn't going to win, obviously, with all the injuries they have sustained. I don't understand why they brought him back. And unfortunately, he gets hurt. And why is he playing in that environment? Again, is beyond me. But somebody talked about Shanahan being the next Marv Levy, being the next Dan Reeves, a guy to not win a Super Bowl. I thought it was interesting. And there was a lot of people that agree that his time has passed. Now, I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. I look at coaches in the NFL like Kyle Shanahan, who has the lineage, okay? Sometimes, listen, you have to understand, man, like, I say this all the time, it ain't easy to win. Like, you can get to the big dance all you want. It ain't easy to win it. Like, people just think because you get, and they just want to call you a failure if you don't, and I think it's ridiculous. I do. I just think it's ridiculous. I think, you coach so long to get to that dance, to not win, but to get the opportunity to win. That's what you do. You get to the opportunity to win. And sometimes things just don't happen, right? We should have won against the Patriots. We all know that, right? We all know that. That game was ours to win. Just didn't happen. You can blame it on McNabb. You blame it on whatever you want. Just didn't happen, right? It just didn't happen. But we got there. Was Andy Reid a failure? I don't think so, right? I wouldn't call him a failure. What happened? He went to Kansas City. Oh, and by the way, he won, huh? So I will not say that. Now, I will say that Kyle Shanahan won't win in San Francisco. I think he will run his course in San Francisco. I think he goes somewhere else and he wins. But I do think he's smart enough and he's intelligent enough when it comes to scheme and also an understanding how to control the sidelines and his players. I do think that he wins a Super Bowl. I do. Now, when we look around the league, that's why I said I look at him in the same vein as I look at a Sean McVay. Okay, I think Sean McVay is a junior Sean Payton. I'm being honest. And here's the thing about McVay. He might leave coaching in a couple years. Like, he's already talked about it. You know what? He said he put so much time into the game mentally that he doesn't think he can do it for longer than a few more years. That's how bought in he is to his craft. So he might be another guy to never win the big game, right? So when you look at it, I can't say that these guys are failures. I can't. Now, if you never get the opportunity to play, yes, that's different, right? So we talked about that. You could bring that back to Nick Sirianni, right? Nick Sirianni, fantastic record in his last few years, right? More wins than anybody on that list. But can he win in the playoffs, right? Can he win? This is the same thing that happened to Andy Reid, right? Andy Reid ran his course. We've lost it. Does that happen here if it's one and done? If it's one and done, do everyone in the regular season, but you show me nothing in the postseason. So that's a different kind of failure because you never made it to the dance, right? You never made it to the dance. The 76ers are a failure. They never had the opportunity to win the big game. That's why. Okay, to me, that's a failure, but not going to the Super Bowl. Marv Levy was not a failure. I'm sorry. I don't categorize him as a failure. I don't categorize Kyle Shanahan as a failure. But when you talk about legit coaches, man, Adam says Kansas City is the worst. That's funny, man. A lot of people talk about Kansas City, I heard. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's very hot takey, right? I do. I think all these national perspectives, it's a shame to me, it's really a shame when you are a former player or you are a celebrity broadcaster and you still have to relegate yourself to clickbait, right? Again, that bothers me. right? That bothers me. Why play into it? I don't understand. And today the narrative was Kansas City's going to be one and done. Can't live on field goals. Worst 11-1 team. Listen, that is all bull. Complete bull to me. They have a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo. You watched it last year. You watched he carried that defense, carried that team. So for somebody to tell me that Kansas City is a bad 11-1 team, there's no bad 11-1 team. I'm sorry. There's not. You're like, people are idiots. There's no bad 11-1 football team, right? I'm sorry. They're just not. My man Mikey V checking in. There he is on YouTube checking in. My man Mike, what's up, Mikey V? What you think about that Eagles win, man? I know you were excited. But Mike, seriously, can there be an 11-1 bad team in the NFL? Like, I just think that people now I do think that people overblow the whole, no pun intended, but Patrick Mahomes, like, Jason Garrett, our favorite cockroach from Dallas, what he said on Sunday Night Football pregame last night when they were talking about the best. Don't leave out that Patrick. Like, everybody's got to mention Patrick Mahomes, right? That's annoying, right? I mean, Chris Collinsworth might as well get down and blow him the whole telecast. Like, he loves Patrick Mahomes, right? Mahomes calls him Mahomes. Come on, man. Like, stop. Like, yeah, he's great. I get it, but do we have to continue to have him in my mouth like every single day? Like, it's ridiculous. So I don't think it, man. And my man Mike says the same thing. Says they aren't as bad. They're just doing what has to be done. Exactly. His left side of the line is having issues. I agree. Right? I agree. And I feel that Andy Reid will be able to get past that, right? He will be able to get past that. Very, very simple. Okay, you don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, and tell me you're a bad 11-1 team. Absolutely ridiculous, okay? But you know what that gets you? That gets you clicks. That gets you people talking about it, right? That's what it gets. It's a good narrative. So let's trump that narrative, man. Let's trump that. Exactly. He's already passing it at 11-1. Exactly. It's crazy, man. It's insane. It really is. He's figuring it out. They aren't 7-5. My man Bill checking it says that there was a bad 10-1 team in 2023. All right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that was an anomaly, right? Okay, but again, you could see why that team was bad. Right? You could see what that team was absolutely collapsing, right? Locker room was collapsing. The sideline was collapsing. There was no answers. This team is just, again, you kind of saw it last year, right? You kind of saw it last year. But now Mike this is a great comment, and this is what I agree. He says, but in capital letters, they are looking much more beatable. That I agree with. Right? Not a bad team, but beatable. They're not elite anymore. They're beatable. But I still, like I said, defense wins championships. So I still would not want to face Steve Spagnuolo, okay, in a championship game environment. Just wouldn't want to do it, right? And I wouldn't want to face Patrick Mahomes, a guy that just makes something out of nothing, right? He's all, and that's my deal, man. That's my deal. So looking around the NFL, I'm looking at the Ravens kind of fall back a little bit, but I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers for a minute. Because again, yes, they have a tremendous win yesterday, right? Russell Wilson throws are 400 yards. Again, everybody's saying again that the Pittsburgh Steelers can't win. They don't have enough offense, right? They don't have enough offense. I mean, this has to stop, right? This narrative has to stop. You win NFL football games. You win championships by running the friggin' football and defending the football. Okay? Not passing. Okay? Not passing for over 500 yards. It just doesn't happen. There was probably one team that probably trumps that narrative, and that was the greatest show on turf, right? With the Rams, with Ramil, because that team was just offensively gifted. Like nobody could even stick with them. And you remember, man, when you got the Hall of Fame Marshall Falk and Kurt Warner and Torrey Holt and Oz Hakeem and Isaac Bruce. I mean, that team was damn near impossible to stop, right? But that's very far and few between. I still bring it back to the Ravens, man. I look at it and it's starting to look like a Ravens kind of Super Bowl, right? Where you're going to run the crap out of the ball, play stellar defense, and just have your quarterback as a game manager in order to make plays when he has to make them. I think that's what this is going to come down to this year in the NFL. And if you look around the NFL, it's playing itself out. We're watching the team tonight in Denver. All right, you heard Japan talk about it. I've talked about it. You know, Denver, listen, Bo Nix is the quarterback that Sean Payton wanted. That's what he wanted. He built a lineup, or I should say, he built a line around Bo Nix. He built an offensive scheme around Bo Nix. And look what's happening. Bo Nix, do you think Bo Nix is going to throw for 400 yards? Hell no. He's a game manager that also can use his legs. The same thing Jalen Hurts can do. The same thing now. Lamar's a little different. Lamar's not a game manager. But they brought a guy in like Derrick Henry in order to take the onus off of Lamar, right? Now, the only guy I would say that has to win football games is Josh Allen. Josh Allen has to win football games. No and if or buts about it. The defense is not going to win them games, okay? And the offense, besides Josh Allen's not going to win it. It's Josh Allen. If Josh Allen does not turn over the football and Josh Allen continues to play spot on, mistake-free, high-energy football, they're going to win. It's very simple. Very, very simple. Now, Mike checking in says there isn't much internal stuff. Coordinators are going on. Exactly. He's talking about the Eagles, right? No coordinator crap going on this year, right? 100%. My man Japan says, yes, Josh Allen. Exactly. He has to be the guy. 100%. Yeah, but my man Mike says, but do teams like that win Super Bowls? And you're talking about Josh, and that's my point. I don't think they do. And people are going to tell me I'm crazy, but I don't. Exactly. Josh can't do it all. Somebody's going to stop Josh. I'm serious. Like, there's always, if you look at, how about, over the years, you look at a bunch of defensive coordinators and against offenses, they say couldn't be stopped. How about we just look what happened last night? I said nobody could stop the Ravens, right? Nobody could stop Lamar. And what happened? Got stopped. Nobody can stop Derrick Henry. I'm not saying it's going to happen every single week. What happened to Jaden Daniels when he faced the legendary Vic Fangio scheme? Okay, he got shut down. But then he played well the following week, right? Like Russell Wilson was all field goals, and then he throws for 414 yards. Again, it's not going to be an every week type of thing, but there's always going to be a guy. So if he stops him, what else do you have, right? What else do you have? Like, look at the Cincinnati Bengals. If the Cincinnati Bengals can't win a damn game because their defense stinks, right? Joe Burrow putting up massive numbers, damn near almost MVP numbers, so to speak, but he can't win a game because their defense stinks, right? Now, think about that. Think if the defense had to win them games. Wouldn't happen, right? Wouldn't happen. So you stop Joe Burrow, you'll never, like Cincinnati, again, they're never going to win, right? It's just, I didn't see that. Mike says, wasn't Al holding his hand last night? I'm not sure. If he goes down, Bills go down 100%, dude. 100%. Adam says, everyone was saying Jalen didn't pass the ball enough yesterday. And I say, you don't have to because we have Barkley to run the ball. I completely agree. Adam, you turned in a little late, right? Probably working and paying the bills, which is what you need to do. But what I will tell you is I went off. I mean, people were telling me to settle down, hold my blood pressure down because I was listening to Jeff Mans coming in here, and he's telling me that the game plan for the Philadelphia Eagles, okay, was ridiculous, was asinine. He was sitting there saying the game plan, the coaching, he said, was a disaster. I'm sorry, got tongue tied there for a minute. but he said it was a disaster. And he's saying, how do you not pass the ball? And I'm thinking, bro, you don't know football. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You may run the best DFS site in America, but it doesn't mean you know how the game works. Because, again, the whole point of being able to run the football is being able to control the clock. And if you can control the clock, okay, what are you instantly doing? You're keeping the other team off the field. It's crazy. Like, it's so nuts the way people think, and they don't understand the logic behind it. And I can't wait, again, to talk to Cordell Woodland about it. He's going to be joining me in about 15 minutes. He is, again, he's a host over there at 105.7 The Fan in B-More, which is Baltimore. Shout out to Casey Nicole Nelson, K&M, for giving us the introduction about 3 years ago. So, again, I'm going to have him on, ask him about it. I can't wait. Japan says, if they run the offense through Barkley, exactly opens everything else up, especially when you don't have your number 2 receiver in Devontae Smith. Like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Like, what are they looking at? Like, let's throw the ball to Jahan Dotson. Let's throw it up to Jahan Dotson and Britton Covey. Like, come on, man. Like, understand the freaking game, man. Like, everybody just wants a microphone, just wants to be able to talk. They don't understand the damn game. Mike says, I saw AJ slants working again. We can throw it every time, right? We can throw it damn near every time, Mike. Every time we can throw it. And it would absolutely happen. Our Bo Nick's coming out. Game's getting ready to start. We'll see if these bets can hit. Can't wait to see that, man, because we had a really, really good weekend. Japan says they are some clowns. They left their red nose in the car before he came into work. Mike says need 12 and 14. Do it. Need 12 and 14. Do it. Yeah, exactly. It was 14 to 12, man. It was 14 to 12. And they absolutely just annihilated the spirit of the Baltimore Ravens. Right? That's what they did. And you heard Saquon Barkley allude to it after the game, right? Okay. He says he needs 12 to 14 AJ slants. That's a lot of slants, man, if you're doing 14. But no, I get it, man. I would say maybe at least 5 to 6. And again, you better be coming up here soon, Mike. No, I'm just kidding. I get it, man. It's far. He says, I'll be coming up soon. It'll be much easier. Again, Mike's talking about right here live remotely every Monday right here live. Tony Cutillo show on Pike's Pub, man. Right here, 455 2nd Street Pike. Make sure you get down here if you can. If not, you check in live on remote. That's what it's all about. Right now, we got 135 people. 135 people that are live online, commenting, talking. Listen, that's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for. We got another 40 minutes to go on this show. We're talking everything, not just Philly, everything from Phillies to Major League Baseball to Eagles to NFL. We got the live game going on Monday Night Football. We were talking about live bets. We got a couple parlays going tonight. We hit 3 parlays this weekend. The Jigsaw Society, if you are a member, listen, congratulations. You had a fantastic weekend. You rode the rave. My man Mike already, look, he's giving a shout out to our man Matt McCarthy right there. Says at Pike's Spot, thanks for bringing us the hosting spot. Listen, Matt's the man. Very thankful for the opportunity. Been doing this for about 5 months, man. Having a great time. Getting everybody lined up online, checking this new form of digital media out, right? But getting back to the NFL, and I want to bring up one guy, before we get into Cordell hopping on in about 10 minutes. I want to talk about Sean McDermott for a minute. And I want to say, and I want to ask, are we overlooking Sean McDermott as one hell of a head coach? Coming off the Jim Johnson tree, by the way. Rest in peace, Jim Johnson. But whenever you hear, and I am 100%, I'm guilty, right? When we talk about if you want to start a franchise in the NFL, and you talk about if you could just pluck a head coach, right now, I've always talked about Mike Tomlin's my guy. I've always talked about Mike Tomlin. I've talked about Sean Payton. I've talked about McVay. Never mentioned Sean McDermott, but not just me. Nobody else really mentions it either. Is there a reason why? Because I'm going to tell you, man, all this guy does, well, look at Jerry Jeudy. Look at Jerry Jeudy, man. Jerry Jeudy revived in Cleveland. And it's a revenge game for Jerry Jeudy right now. Right? It's a revenge game for Jerry Jeudy. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Hey, it's a revenge game. He's giving a middle finger up right now to Sean Payton. Right? That's what he's saying. But again, Jerry Jeudy was a guy. That's what I'm telling you, man. Be careful. Be careful. Check this out. Mike says, could the Bears' next coach be Matt Patricia? Wow. Or no, I'm telling you right now, the first opening is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is the next head coach, bro. Of like whatever team, like he's going to have his pick. There's no way, like he's not going to be on, remember we call Insta Face. He's not going to be on Insta Face or Snap Face or whatever he's trying to be funny. The dude is made to coach an NFL football team. Okay? He's just laying it out to lay the land, man. He's waiting for his spot. Okay? So I think I shouldn't say I think, I know 100% he will be coaching in the NFL. Now, look at how about Nick Chubb too, by the way, just running over people, looking at that horrific injury. He's still running over people, man. Still running over people. But I just don't think McDermott, like I said, get back to Sean McDermott for a minute. I'm going to give him his flowers. I just don't think, okay. I get it. He says, Mike says, I was referring to giving McDermott his flowers, saying he could have been one of those type of head coach. Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. He could have been, right? He definitely could have been. And, he's had to deal with a lot of adversity out there in Buffalo. He really has. And I got to give it to him, man. Like he keeps those guys mild and mannered, right? He's brought over guys like one guy, Tremaine Edwards, brought over from Chicago. When he had Tremaine Edwards, I'm sorry. Tremaine Edwards was a guy who was very flashy, a guy that, liked to talk. But again, he was able to calm him down, turn him into that Pro Bowl player he knew he was going to be, right? When you look at Stephon Diggs, he was a guy that he couldn't control, had some issues with Stephon Diggs, okay? Was willing to let him go and say, we're going to be okay. And guess what? I guess he was right. Because we're still talking about them as a top 4 team in the NFL, right? And that's what's crazy. Now, Mike says, came out of being a short-term D coordinator and all. He got it together with what he has. You're right. He was a short-term defensive coordinator, learned a ton from the man Jim Johnson himself. And, I look at it as being in Buffalo. It's not easy to be a long tenured coach in the NFL, where, everything in the NFL is we want success now. We want to win now. It's not easy. It's not. There's James throwing again, man. Like I said, James is going to throw all damn day. He might throw 50 times tonight, man. Like seriously, that's all he wants to do is throw. That's it. That's all he wants to do is throw. But to be a long tenured coach like Sean McDermott is a tremendous. Like, again, that's a success, right? That's a success. You're right. Coaches don't get any time to build anymore, right? They don't have time because they're spending so much damn money on this talent that you're right. Their lease is super short. Super short. They're spending all that money on this talent. Definitely. 100%. 100%. But listen, man, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break because we kind of went over segments here. Let's take a 5-minute break. We're going to pay some bills and come back in 5 minutes with a special guest, my man Cordell Woodland of 105.7 FM, The Fan out there in Baltimore, to get his reaction on the Ravens and Eagles game. What did he think as a Ravens reporter? What did he think of the Eagles? Because I hear a lot of people, right? I hear a lot of people talk about that the Ravens should have won that game. A lot of people talking about that. So I'm curious. Because he's one of the most straight up dudes I know. So he will give you his unbiased opinion as always. So we will be back in 5 minutes on the Tony Cutillo Show live right here from Pike's Pub with my man Cordell Woodland from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. And we are live right here, back for the final 30 minutes right here on the Tony Cutillo Show. Live from Pike's Pub, 455 Second Street Pike. Like we are 3 out of 4 Mondays in the month. Get down here if you can. If not, join us on social media. We're live all over on X, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, but most importantly, YouTube. Get over to Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so I can get to your comments. So and we got a special guest coming up in a few minutes, and that is none other than Cordell Woodland of 105.7 The Fan. He's going to join us shortly, and he's going to talk about, he's a Ravens guy, man. He covers the Ravens and the Orioles over there for 105.7 The Fan. And I'm curious to see what he thinks about, right? What does he think about that game? Because a lot of people, I keep saying it, a lot of people are saying, guess what? Ravens should have won that game, right? All those turnovers. Ravens should have won that game. They're the superior team. They're not dead. So I'm curious on what he thinks because, again, he's very unbiased, man. He's very unbiased. But here's what I will say. The different bounces of the ball can go any specific way at any day, okay? And I can't just say that this could have happened or that could have happened. I have to look at the way the offense was controlled, the way the defense was controlled. And I'm looking at the way at 14-12, the way that game was controlled. Okay? Don't give me the garbage touchdown at the end, right? I'm not worried about that. All right? I'm looking at the way the game was controlled. And the Eagles controlled that game. And this was a big test, right, for the Ravens, in my opinion, against a really good defense, and vice versa. The run defense hasn't given up a running back more than 60 yards all year, and Saquon Barkley had over 100. Again, MVP. But I'm going to keep saying that. Oh, look at that, Vele. There's our boy Vele. There's our boy Vele for all you sports bettors out there. Let's see if he caught it. Oh, we like it. See, we only needed him for over 34.5. Now, Japan, I wonder if Japan's bets, the ladder is going to be hitting tonight. I know he's happy right now, right? I know he's happy because, and this is what I talk about, not to get off track here, but because a big play just happened, and we are here live from Pike's Pub watching Monday Night Football. We do have bets on the game. And I'm looking at this, and again, here's a wide receiver too. There's the guy right there in Sean Payton, right? He's taken over this team. He knew Russ wasn't the guy he wanted, right? He knew, and there's Javonte Williams. See, here's the thing, man. How does he not get in? How does Javonte not get in? That's sad. Right? That's sad. I love Javonte Williams. I don't know if it's the line or what it is, but you got to get in on that, man. You literally have to get in on that. But no, to get back to this is what I was like. He didn't want Russ. I think we all knew that, right? He didn't want Russ, and he wanted his guy. His guy was Bo Nix, right? His guy was Bo Nix, and now you're seeing Bo Nix as more than a game manager, right? He's not an elite quarterback by any means, right? But he's running this offense exactly the way Peyton wants him to run it. And there's Javonte Williams who gets it. Opening up the hole, Javonte Williams, a touchdown. It is now, well, I'm not gonna say it's going to be 7-0 because the way that kickers have been missing extra points in the NFL and field goals has been a little bit ridiculous. So I'm not taking anything for granted right here. But here you go with it again. I will look at this and I will say to circle back to our first conversation about how the narrative in the NFL when we talk about coaching is changing. And talking about play calling is changing. Okay. And you go to Denver team and you go down there at the one, no play action, no to the tight end, man. You're just pounding it with the running back, right? Pounding it with the running back. And I think, honestly, this may sound crazy, and I'd be curious to hear what people think about this, but I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles have a little bit to do with this based on that tush push that they put in play last year. I do, and I think that a lot of people were looking at the offensive line scheme and they were understanding and studying it and saying we can really run the ball hard here. And I do think that that's a reason why we're seeing a lot of teams. Think about it. A lot of teams are running. You know what's crazy about that too is it just us specifically. You know, how do you feel comfortable running 3rd and 7, right? 3rd and 7, you're a normal passing down, and you're running the ball for a first down. Like, you think about it, it's crazy. Not many times, okay, would we be seeing that? Not many times will we be seeing that. And we're seeing it more and more. And listen, I think it's a changing of the guard. I really do. It's a changing of the guard, so to speak. Again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show right here live from Pike's Pub. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe where you're watching it. If you're not liking and subscribing on the YouTube page, make sure you get over to the YouTube page. Just type in Tony Cutillo Show. Very, very simple. It will come up. Boom. Very, very new. Don't think, oh, this guy stinks. He's only got 40 subscribers and this and that. Starting a brand new page specifically for this show, and this is our home right here at Pike's Pub, man. So it's a fantastic journey, and we continue to roll with it. Continue to talk NFL and MLB and anything that you want to talk about. And I mentioned earlier about NFL and talking about the top 4 teams in the NFL, and I think everybody's talking about in the NFC. You know, is the Lions, or I should say, are the Lions still the number 1 team? Have the Eagles put a dent into it? Right? Have they put a dent into it? Or are you going to consider the Eagles as the better team? I'm going to give my opinion in a second. Now, this is very hard for me to do because I can't stand Jared Goff. And I love Dan Campbell. And I love the way, again, here's another team. It could be in several different ways, but they employ one hell of a running attack. One hell of a running attack with a tremendous offensive line, a 2-headed monster, okay, in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. But again, what happens if a team, think about this, that's why I bring this up. Think about the game that we just watched with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. And what we said was, we need to watch Derrick Henry. We need to stop Derrick Henry. And we do it. But if we can, who has to win a game? Lamar Jackson. Are you confident in Jared Goff winning you a football game if you're able to stop that running attack? Adam says, I don't see anyone beating the Eagles the rest of the year. I wouldn't say that. Listen, to think that we're going to win out, people think we're going to be 15-2. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not. I am going to, I'm going to adopt the Sirianni mindset. No, I'm not talking about growing like a flower. What I'm saying is, I feel, wow, and Njoku's such a fantastic tight end, man. He's so athletic. I literally think I'm just going game by game, man. Like, seriously, like I don't think you could look past Carolina. Like, I know people want to look past Carolina, but I can't look past Carolina. Like, honestly, like I can't do it. Like, think about, I'm glad we kind of, you'll see there's a lot of stuff in my head when I'm talking. Bryce Young, I got to give it up to the young man. Not easy to do, to look completely lost, deer in the headlights, and then come back and really run an offense seamlessly, man. Like, the dude's not even turning the ball over. Right. And that's the fantastic part. Like, he's having fun. Did you see him? Did you see the cheesing he had on his face? Did you see how elated he was when he scored that touchdown? And this dude is playing ball and he's loving the game again. He was hating the game. And you know what? A big thing that honestly, that really turned him around, in my opinion, and I'm sure, again, check up on the cat in the comments if you agree, is the RPO. The RPO, with exactly the way it worked for Jalen Hurts last year, is exactly the way or the year before. Remember when Jalen Hurts first came, that RPO was huge. He still uses it, right? Obviously. But they've employed the RPO with Bryce Young, and it's been a game changer, an absolute game changer. And like you have to remember too, they got rid of Deontay Johnson. Like that was the guy they want to be their number one guy. And then you have again, I'm gonna say the word again, a veteran in Adam Thielen, who I am shocked that came back this year. Shout out to Adam Thielen specifically for coming back this year. Okay. Because again, he knew they weren't going to win a lot of games. Wow. Elijah Moore. Man, I'll tell you what. Look, didn't I tell you Jameis was going to sling it? Jameis was just going to sling it, man. I told you. Just going to sling it. It's crazy, man. Crazy. But this is going to be, I think there's going to be some fireworks this game. I really do. But that RPO really has changed things. And like I said, to get back to Adam Thielen, here's a guy who was injured, could have easily went on IR for the rest of the year and packed it in. But he's a veteran. He's out there balling. He's out there playing. And look what he's doing, man. Like he's building this kid up. He's giving him a consistent target, right? And I think that's what's huge, about the game right now. You're seeing these veterans, this veteran leadership all on around. We're down to the 10 right now in the red zone. And there's a touchdown to David Njoku. So if you had the anytime touchdown bets for David Njoku, you are cashing in right now. Jameis Winston just goes down and just throws and throws and throws and throws, man. It's all this cat does is throw the damn ball, right? It's all the cat does is throw the damn ball. It's crazy when you think about it, man. It is absolutely crazy. And again, I got to give a shout out to him, man. He continues to do it. Right? He continues to do it. So now we're sitting here tied. Oh, I didn't jinx it. I'm not going to say tie. The kick is up. And it's good. Okay, we're tied. 7-7. So we're well on our way. Right? We're on our way. I honestly think the biggest sweat for our triple play tonight, for the Pike's Pub triple play, is going to be the rushing yards, even though they're only 34.5 for Javonte Williams. I really do. But I think he breaks a couple to get us to that point. So we shall see. But getting back to the Bryce Young thing, I like to see that around the NFL. The guys that are getting benched and they come back and they play really well. And I think it's extremely important. And, sometimes that you have to take ego out of it. Sometimes you have to be a coach, right? And I think that's the problem that was going on in Cleveland. That, yeah, he wasn't a young guy. But Deshaun Watson damn sure needed to be benched, okay, before he got hurt. But this was not a Kevin Stefanski move, okay? He was being overruled by the front office, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, he was being overruled by the front office, okay? He was being overruled and said, no, we've invested so much, we're going to make it work, right? And they lost football games because of it. And I don't think that's right. Right. They had a very capable backup at Jameis Winston, as you're seeing it right now, just like Carolina did in the great Carrot Top, right? And Andy Dalton, right? When you have a good backup listen, Joe Flacco, you see what they did in Indianapolis. Listen, Anthony Richardson needed to be benched. He needed to be benched. Some of these guys need a wake-up call. Right now, I'm going to be personally honest. I don't know the attitude of any of these guys. I'm just going to go for what I see, not from the person, but from the actions. I think Anthony Richardson was a big ego kind of guy and needed to be kicked in the ass a little bit to say, yo, you're not who you thought you were, right? I don't think that was Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young was just lost. I think Bryce Young just needed time to understand, like slow the game down, right? Slow it down. And I think that's what he was able to do. Sit down, slow the game down, and kind of get a restart, right? Kind of get like a fresh restart on the game, which I think would be huge. And he got it. And it worked out perfectly, right? Another guy that could have used the same, which kind of did, but he didn't do it because of play, because of injury, was Will Levis, right? Another guy that needed to be sat down. Now, he's an ego guy. He wants to sling the ball like Jameis Winston. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that same skill set right now, right? But he's got a hell of a cannon. And by the way, Nick Westbrook-Akinye, how many touchdowns is this dude going to throw or catch every single week? It's been ridiculous. Adam says, good idea to bring this up, Adam, as we're sitting here waiting for my man Cordell Woodland of 105.7, The Fan. Listen, he says, I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence when I hit yesterday. I do want to speak about that hit for a minute. And, listen, I get it, right? I get it that it looked really, really bad, right? It did. It looked really, really bad. And there was a lot of extracurriculars that went on. Listen, I've seen all that before, as a coach. But what I will say is we don't know what the speed of the game is sometimes, right? So, and he came out on social media. He put out an apology, right? And he said exactly what he felt. And he said, listen, I didn't have time. Like, we thought that he had time. Right. But we don't know that. We're not the player himself. We have no idea. Right. We have no idea. So when you look at that, okay, you have to understand that you have a split-second decision. Right. Split-second decision. And unfortunately, yes, it happened and it sucked. Right. But luckily, nothing happened beyond. Right. Trevor Lawrence. Listen, we say what we want, but Trevor Lawrence probably shouldn't have been playing anyway. That team stinks. It's going nowhere. Doug Peterson's going to be fired. He's going to be looking for another job. We already know that, right? They have so many injuries. Oh, wow. Bo Nix just throws a pick six for now. Wow. A pick six, man, for Bo Nix. And again, deflection, it happens. Oh, nope. Looks like they let it play, they call it out, but it was ruled incomplete, right? Yeah, okay, they blowed it dead. So doesn't count. We're back to 7-7. Back to 7-7. But yeah, listen, I am glad that Alshire came out, and he showed the bad part of social media, right? The death threats, the racist marks. Like, come on, man. Like, people are ridiculous, and it's why, like, when you do this kind of thing and you open yourself up, it's okay. Like, I don't mind. Like, I'll go to battle with anybody. But at the end of the day, the tough thing about it, again, the tough thing about it is you have to understand that you're going to deal with these trolls. You're going to deal with these idiots, right? And you're okay to have your opinion, but why does all the other extracurricular activities and sentiments and why does all that have to come into play? And that's my biggest problem. So I'm glad he came out. Okay, I am. I'm glad he came out, and obviously it was something he had to do. It was something he had to do. Trevor Lawrence did not get hurt, obviously, which was a big deal. And Adam, you're right. I did. I felt bad for him when it happened. I did. I felt bad for him when that happened because I thought it was much worse than we saw. I really do. I think it was much worse, than we saw. Again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show. Closing this out live for the last 12 minutes right here at Pike's Pub, 455 2nd Street Pike. I want to give a shout out to all 128 people right now live that are in the chat, talking it up. And right here in the bar, right? Right here in the pub, right? Watching Monday Night Football, get ready to play some poker, maybe. My man. All right. Oh, that's all good, man. All good. My man B checking in. What Sixers? Listen, we haven't even touched on the Sixers. The Sixers need to worry about the Sixers. They got some major problems in Sixer land. Like that's a whole nother 3 hours. That's a whole nother 3 hours. Trust me. We talked about that last week, right? We talked about, right? Adam, you know what we're talking about. Absolutely, man. Listen, and getting back to real fast in the NFL, as Brian, like this, the bar captain is not here tonight. No, Adam, he's not here tonight. He might have been here earlier, but maybe he'll be back on the mic in the next couple weeks when we come back here. We shall see. I don't know if you want that, but if you want that, I can kind of make that happen. But again, he has been labeled the bar captain for a reason. Maybe we have to have like multiple bar captains. We shall see, right? Yeah, exactly, Adam. 100%. But listen, real fast, top 4 teams in the NFL, because we got about 8 minutes left here as we close this out. Top 4 NFL teams right now. I do put the Eagles number 1. I do. I do put the Eagles over Detroit. We talked about that. Yes, I do. I do put them over Detroit. I think they're a deeper team, in my opinion. I think that they're more grounded. And, it'll definitely be an interesting matchup if that's the way this goes. It will definitely be an interesting matchup if that's the way this goes, because you're going to have 2 fiery head coaches in Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell, and a very, very good roster on both sides. But what I will say, and I'll continue to say this, man, that it's going to be the Eagles defense against the Lions offense if it happens. I am not scared of the defense of Detroit. I'm not. But I am very scared of the offense unless they can't stop Montgomery and Gibbs. If they could stop Montgomery and Gibbs, I'm not scared, because I don't like Jared Goff one bit. I don't think Jared Goff wins you football games. Adam, you're right. You got Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, right? That's where Adam's going. Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs. You got to still get the respect of the Chiefs, man. Get back on that previous conversation where everybody said they're done. No, I'm not. Listen, I am not calling them done. I'm not calling 11-1. Are you ridiculous? Come on, man. Let's think about this, man. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah, they're going to be there. Listen, the only thing about the Bills, like we touched on earlier, is Josh Allen. Meaning, the only people that can beat Josh Allen is Josh Allen. I mean, it has to be Josh Allen. If Josh Allen cannot beat you, then guess what? Then you're good, right? Because the defense, even though it's good, it's not great by any means. Amari Cooper has not been a guy to rely on. Dalton Kincaid continues to be injured and can't stay on the field. Now, you do have a good running back in James Cook. You have a really good rookie in Ray Davis, right? And you have a very good blocking and receiving back at Ty Johnson. So you do have that availability. Obviously, Khalil Shakir is a very good shout out to Japan. I know he's his favorite player. Khalil Shakir is a very, very good wide receiver, right? We know that by Keon Coleman has been in and out of the lineup. Mac Hollins, does his thing on a part-time basis. But again, Josh Allen needs to win football games. So, I don't think Patrick Mahomes needs to win football games. You also have to remember about the Chiefs, by the way, that Pacheco finally came back, only played 7. He only had 7 snaps, right? 7 carries. He will be back to 100% by the time playoffs start. So now you're actually going to give that offense a spark with Isaiah Pacheco, and then give Kareem Hunt a rest, who's shown he can shoulder the load. So now you kind of have your own thunder and lightning action there. Okay, you have DeAndre Hopkins, who still has some of the best hands in the game, a Hall of Fame tight end, Travis Kelce, right? And a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo. So, I am not ready to say they are the worst 11-1 team. They're just not even hitting their stride yet, which is scary. Adam says, I'm not a Mahomes fan, but they are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I'm a Mahomes fan for the simple fact that I do think that he's very unique. He is one of the most, if not the most unique quarterbacks I've ever seen play the game. Right? You look at him and go, he's a quarterback? Right? You look at the way he throws the ball, very unorthodox. He throws it so many different angles, so many different ways. He can run if he has to. He walks a little funny. Like, he just doesn't look like your prototypical athlete, right? And that's what I love about him, that he is kind of, shot down all, the skepticism, in the past. Now we're going to go to the live on the Rise and React media line. I think we got my man Cordell Woodland checking in. Again, I like I said, man, bring you all types of guests. You can follow him at Cordell Woodland on X. I'm going to bring him in a minute. 105.7 The Fan. And I'm going to get his take on this game, man. So I'm going to bring him in right now. Cordell, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yo, listen, man, let's get right into it, man, because I know you're a busy guy. I want kind of like that unbiased take, man. Like, you're the Ravens guy. I'm the Eagles guy. Just curious, man, what was your overall take from that game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of takeaways. For on the Ravens side, I think the Ravens that game was very similar to a lot of the Ravens' downfalls throughout the season. Them not finishing drives, special teams being a problem for them, and offensively them not kind of asserting their will at times. And so, everybody is going to highlight Justin Tucker and his rough day, missing the 2 field goals. He misses the extra point. And, they look at the final score and will say that Justin Tucker's misses were the difference in the game. But I really don't think that's the case. Obviously, Tucker's issues are at the top of the list as to why they lost. But I also think the offense, they didn't do a really good job of taking that game when it was up for grabs. I felt like the game was sitting there for somebody to take it for a while, and neither offense was really getting anything going. And look, the Ravens have one of the top offenses in the league, so they're at home. It was on them to kind of take that game by the horns instead of sending their struggling kicker out there to take some of those long field goals. And in the end, Saquon and the Eagles ended up making the plays that actually made the difference in the game.
Yeah, listen, man, I love that. I love that take because it's so true. The game was up for grabs. It's 14-12. Literally it's anybody's game. I mean, nobody was blowing each other out, and I think it's ridiculous. Again, we got live on the Roger React Media Hotline. I got my man Cordell Woodland. You can follow him at Cordell Woodland on X. Covers the Ravens, Orioles, 105.7 The Fan. Shake It Up Sports Show as well on the same station. He's followed us before. He's been a guest before. Very, very good, intelligent sports mind in the game. And Cordell, I say, it's ridiculous that people are even talking about, now the Ravens take a step down. They're done now. Like, it's so ridiculous the way some of these people take. I look at this team, like you just said, from the outsider's perspective of this is an elite offense. Like, every now and then you're going to walk into, maybe a scheme that doesn't fit you. And Vic Fangio is shown to be able to do that. But the Eagles, they did fumble the ball 5 times. You just didn't get any of those fumbles back. So I don't think the Ravens are done by any means, my man.
No, I don't think they're done. I mean, look, they go into their bye week at 8-5. It's a late bye week, week 14. They desperately need this bye week right now. That's a long time, 13 straight games. That's a lot for any team. So I do think they suffer from a little bit of fatigue. I don't want to use that as an excuse, but a little bit. I do think naturally fatigue was a little bit of an issue for them. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens just can't get out of their own way at times. And, it's a couple of plays that stick out to me. A third down where the Ravens are kind of in their own end zone and Lamar kind of short arms a easy pass out to Zay Flowers on the outside for a first down to continue that drive. Instead, that ends up being a punt, and I think that was in the stretch of their 3 straight 3 and out. I think to Lamar taking a bad sack on third down that kind of pushes them back, and Tucker ends up missing the field goal the very next play. Special teams wasn't great for them. It was a lot wrong. The defense has been one of their biggest issues for most of the year. Over the last 3 weeks, they played a lot better. They played well enough to win yesterday. But all in all, I still think that the Ravens are a really good team. Health, just like for any other team, is going to be important for them. They have to figure out this kicking situation with Justin Tucker. And, Lamar has talked about this team just being more consistent. Consistency is their issue right now. They have the talent. They just need to be able to show that they can play at a high level on a regular basis.
Listen, man, I agree. And I want to ask you because there's just 2 ways to look at this, in my opinion. And we're talking about the kicker situation. Your Harbs come out. Again, we're following. Make sure you follow Cordell Woodland at Cordell Woodland on X. He was at the typing in the press conference today. All the quotes from Harbs, and he covers the Ravens and Orioles. 105.7 The Fan. Shake It Up Sports Show on the same station. And you look at this 2 ways. You see him give the confidence. Look, Justin's our kicker. That's fine. I get that part, right, as a coach. But what happens when the other players on the team are killing themselves to get to that point, and they know this dude just has the yips and he can't get out of his own head, but what do you say to them? And on the other side, if you do go out and do something crazy, like maybe a ghost injury, he gets put on IR, you get another kicker. Like, what does that say to the veterans on your team? So, like, how do you think this plays out, man?
Yeah, it's a weird situation, and I think a lot of people have tried to make it seem like it's a simple fix, and it's not. It's not. I mean, Tucker has warranted a leash, a nice leash at that. As great as he's been throughout his career. So you do want to show some patience. You do.
Yeah, definitely want to show some patience, right?
And you can make the argument that he cost them yesterday's game and a couple of other games this season as well. So I think this is why it's a difficult decision for Harsh, because there is no easy answer. There is no playbook for dealing with this in a situation where at one point we're calling this kicker the greatest kicker of all time, and all of a sudden he stinks. Everybody wants to get rid. A lot of the fans are ready to just throw him to the side. But it's easier said than done. And even talking to Marlon Humphrey and some of the guys in the locker room, they don't know how to deal with this. They're used to, kind of just assuming that every kick he takes, he's going to make it. But right now they're in uncharted territory. So I think they're going to work out some kickers in this bye week. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see them add a kicker to their practice squad just to at least maybe light a fire under him.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, this is a no-win situation. Like, you want to give your guy the leash that he deserves, but at the same time, like, God forbid, what could happen? Like, if you lose a game on the leg of Justin Tucker, like, you're never going to live it down. Like, John Harbaugh this is a no-win situation for him. I would not want to be in his position. That's for damn sure, man. But let me ask you, your top 4 teams right now in the NFL, man. This overall, I know it's changed a couple times. Who are your top 4 teams right now?
Top 4 teams. I would say Detroit, Buffalo, Kansas City, and right now I'd have to put the Eagles in there.
Yeah, it's crazy. People were talking about Kansas City. I was getting arguments earlier. They're saying it's the worst 11-1 football team they ever seen, and I'm just like, to me, that's a ridiculous statement. Like, with a team that has a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, a Hall of Fame head coach, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame tight end, and hadn't even hit their stride yet. Like, I'm just like, how can you say that? Like, to me, that could be the scariest team of all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year should have taught us, that we can't count these guys out. All last year, they looked terrible. And, everybody was counting them out. People are making it seem like their run is over. And all they did was kind of wake up at the right time, hit their stride, lean on the defense, lean on that run game. And they just know how to navigate those playoff waters. They know how to play in those big games. They came to Baltimore in the AFC Championship game and won that game, and then go on to win their second straight Super Bowl. So I'm by no means I'm not one of those people that believes that you have to win games pretty. You have to blow teams out. It's football. It's not a pretty game. You get into January, you're not blowing anybody out in January. So yeah, you have to learn how to win games when you're not playing at your best that day. You need to learn how to win games from behind. You have to be able to win in a variety of ways, and they have shown that they can.
Yeah, you're right, man. Especially in the playoffs, And I'll get you out of here on this, man. I want you to put your MLB hat on for me for 1 second, because I know, again, you do a lot of work over there. Again, we're talking live on the Rise and React Media Hotline. We got my man Cordell Woodland at Cordell Woodland on X. Covers of Ravens, Orioles, 105.7 The Fan, and be more. Looking at the Philadelphia Phillies, a name that keeps coming up to us is Anthony Santander. Now, I'm not that kind of guy that says, just by watching a couple highlights, I know anything about the guy. You being out there in Baltimore, can you give us any kind of nuggets on Santander, or what, a team who signs him would be getting?
Well, they'll first and foremost be getting a really good guy. I'm a big fan of Anthony Santander, the person, been able to cover him for the last few years, and he's really a joy to cover. Really class act, just flat out nice guy. So that's first and foremost. But also a unique talent that has found a way to. He was a very raw talent a few years ago. I believe he's a Rule 5 guy that the Orioles got through the Rule 5 draft. So they have been able to kind of get the most out of Santander. He used to be a heavy strikeout guy. Those strikeout his plate discipline has really increased over the years, and so has his power. I mean, he's the best switch hitting power bat, I think, right now in baseball, coming off the year that he just had. His defense isn't the greatest. It's also not the worst, but I think at this stage of his career, he's more likely to see more first base than he is to see out in right field. So look, the Orioles offense had really went cold in the second half of the season, and Santander was one of the few guys that they could actually depend on a regular basis. He knows how to. I mean, he's had multiple walk-off home runs this season. He's a clutch at bat. So you'd be getting a guy that really boosts your offense for sure. But just like with any power guy, the strikeout numbers aren't going to be great all the time. But I think when he is able to contribute is usually in a big way.
Listen, man. I don't know what's going to happen, but you got me excited. When you just said overall good guy, I like that, man, because I'm with you, man. I like to see guys like that succeed. Cordell, man, listen, I know you were running late. I appreciate it, man. I know you're always running, man.
Really sorry about that. Really sorry.
Stop, man. Listen, man, it's all good, man. I just appreciate you giving me 15, 20 minutes in the audience here and letting us know that last nugget just on Santander was worth its price of admission, man. I really appreciate it. But what you got going on besides the stuff that I mentioned? Anything big coming up this week?
Nothing major this week. Or Ravens on a bye week, so we'll be reassessing a lot of what's going on with the team out here, doing a lot of self scouting. I'll be on air all week from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I was on today. I'll be back on Wednesday and through the rest of the week. But yeah, just kind of self-scouting this Ravens team, trying to figure out ways to figure out what's going on with Justin Tucker right now. We got a Deontay Johnson situation in Baltimore. So yeah, a lot to unpack right now with the Ravens.
Man, that's what pays the bills, man. Keeps you busy, brother, right? Keeps you busy, man. No, listen, man, I really appreciate you hopping on, man, and I'll definitely get you back on when you have some more time and chop it up. And good luck, this season, the rest of the season with the Ravens, brother, for real, 100%.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. There he is, man. That is Cordell Woodland. You can follow him at Cordell Woodland on X. He covers the Ravens and the Orioles, 105.7 The Fan. You tell him all. He told you, 10-2, man, all day on air. You heard what he said about Santander. I love it. Right. I love what he said about Santander. I'm excited. And I agree with him 100% what he talked about with the Eagles and the Ravens as well. Listen, another fantastic show right here. My man Adam checking this is another great show, man. Keep up the grind. That's what we do, brother. That's what we do, man. We grind it out. Shout out. We still listen, man. We've been pegged anywhere between 128 to 136 live viewers since we started this thing. A lot of subs, a lot of people coming in, a lot of comments. Appreciate it as always. Everybody have a fantastic week. Like I always say, man, every day above ground is a good day. Listen, it's a little cold out there. That's okay. Stay warm. Go Birds. We'll see what happens. Carolina up next. We shall see. But again, as always, man, we'll be back. Not next week, a week off. Following week, we'll be back right here live from Pike's Pub. And who knows, man, winter meetings in Major League Baseball. So we'll never know. Keep it locked right here on the Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Later on tonight, we'll be hopping on, talking some fantasy, talking some bets, just like I do on Sirius on the regular. So everybody have a fantastic day, fantastic night, and we'll catch you back here next time.